FM 99.9 ani Mengbe Kering TV wale nyin sambale na atol mini alonko alka safaro leke fir fewon le bal budo alafta kabin kankula ning alnata home digital FM jamu kankular bundal te dami alonko ning kankula dunia bele kalong ika fengo mi wafi ani kama minna andu manna da wala atul mini alonko project call bale budo gabia banko kanim banko e bantara na lafta mole nyim project call kalamuta janne mudulati alsina kachano dami nka advertisement or kaliyele dami yalonko nse voice kali nga bi mix ngana murung nga eali bala manna da wala ni lafta talk show la dami yalonko business ole be bulu wala project ole be bulu isina sino radio to janne wala itarasiri na online tv ine mole den kachala pour nyin kamala ise ku jama lonje nteludun mobundale timi yaron ko ka fahamuro yurwande kanda malu ke kilimoti wala munna lo kankumoti wala ya sabu ibe dawoda ni atara safaro le be bulu do lafta mole kala motande kana ker nan tarabri kama nema bana laftan command la drongal se fero ke alien commandi plus 220 779 4475 wala plus 220-734-3125. Hanside ning altulbe diaspora alsenna WhatsApp command nole plus 44777167675 wala Mengbe Kering nka fo wala nyama andum fanan nka ke wala nyama.
Thank you to the members of the press, and thank you to everyone that is watching us on social media, on the different social media platforms. Just as the clerk alluded to, this press conference is precipitated by the disparaging and misleading information that were peddled in an interview with Standard newspaper by the Chief Executive Officer of the Kamehera Council, Mr. Mengbe Kering. Now, the allegations, we felt as a council that these allegations should be responded, because the public deserves to know the whole truth, and they deserve to know nothing but the truth. And there are a lot of allegations that are made. Yes, you can understand if council taken a decisive action against anybody, which would in consequence would amount to them losing their job, you expect them to react in an adverse way, but you do not expect them to detach or disconnect that reaction from the truth. You expect them to tell the truth at all cost, because only truth shall set them free and set everyone free. So the CEO has made a lot of disparaging remarks on issues that which he said that is what the council had engaged in. Some of them, he said, are in contravention with the laws, and he cited some sections and some of the paragraphs from both the Local Government Act 2002, Local Government Finance and Audit Act 2004, and the Financial and Accounting Manual for Local Government Authorities 2009. So we'll go through the points one by one, and we will make reference to the allegations he made in the Standard interview and try to respond to them befittingly, because that is very important. As I said, truth shall set anyone who is the proponent of it free, and that is what we hope would happen here. So Mr. Jonga may be entitled to react in any way that he wants to, but he is not entitled to mislead the public. That is very, very wrong, and that is exactly what he has done. So we start with what he claimed. He said the chairman had authorized payment of the sum of 148,000 as a honorarium payment for compliance officers. And he said this does not fall within the current approved budget estimate. That's what he said. It does not fall within the current budget estimate, and therefore we are in violation of section 13(1) of the Local Government Finance and Audit Act 2004, and paragraph 4. He said section, but it is paragraph because it's not a legislation. It's paragraph 504 of the Financial and Accounting Manual for Local Government. So paragraph 4 is about control of expenditure. That is the guidance given in the manual. And paragraph 4 is talking about budget lines, so you do not spend beyond your budget lines. And that is in the Finance and Audit Act 2004. So the allegation is that this is not budgeted. So we have the approved budget that was sent. This is a communique to the ministry from the CEO himself. And this was on the 8th of December 2022. And he was telling the minister about the approved budget of BAC for 2023. He said there was no accommodation of honorarium payment in the budget. But the reality is that that is not true. There's already been an allocation of 200,000 for honorarium payments. And that is here, yes. That is already here. We will provide that to you. But that is there. 200,000 has been allocated as honorarium payment for 2023. He said we paid 148,000. That means we still have 52,000 remaining as a balance on the budget. So that is blatant false. And this is deliberate too, because the CEO is also the custodian of all council documents. So he is in custody of this document. He knows what this document is saying, and he should have made reference to it when he is going to rely on it as evidence to throw aspersions against people, especially the council. So he should have checked to see whether there had been any budget allocation for honorarium payments. And if he had done that, he would have seen that that is in fact the case, and that honorarium payment has not been exhausted. So, in essence, that is not true. That is misleading the public. And if you look at the reason why this council taken action against the CEO and made recommendation for him to be removed from here, one of the issues that we lamented in our resolution is that he has been misleading this council on several occasions. So it is unfortunate that he did not limit that misleading to just this council, but now wants to go and mislead the whole Gambian public about his own actions and his conduct and what he has been doing at BAC. So we as a council, it is our duty to come out and let the public know that that is a false information, to say that there is no budget line for such. There is a budget line for it. And not only that, he mentioned paragraph 504 of the financial manual. If only he had gone a little bit back to paragraph 304, he would have realized that he, the CEO himself, through General Council approval, can do virement. What that means is, if something that is of this important, because you know, compliance officers are very, very important. We were struggling to get even 50,000 from our market collectors on a weekly basis, 50,000 or 60,000 from them on a weekly basis. When we engage compliance officers to go in the field with them, we are scoring as much as 189,000 in a week. That's a huge difference for a council that usually limps. In fact, there's a language in this council. Is one of our council parlance we call it limping period. That when we get to October, November, December, we limp as a council because we don't have enough revenue, and therefore we don't usually have money to pay staffs. And we will come to that because he made reference to taking loans from JAOL in order for them to be able to pay salaries for November 2022. So the CEO, if only, and this is one of the things we stated in our resolution, that he is incompetent. And I think that is what he had proven here. Because if he is competent and understand the financial manual that he made reference of, he should have known, or he ought to know, that there is an option of environment available to him and the council whenever we are exhausting whatever that is in our budget. So if your honorarium allocation is going down, you can look for other allocations that you've made under the same heading. So we are talking about recurrent here now. On the recurrent. So you look on the recurrent. What other allocations have we made that which we have not used? To start with, in that budget, we have allocation of 100,000 for miscellaneous. That can mean anything. And that has not been used. They allocated 500,000 for uniforms. I haven't seen any uniform that has been given to even the security or the police in the whole of this year. They have not been issued with one uniform. So that means that 500,000 is not used. So you have compliance officers. These are youths. That which, as a council, we are creating job opportunity for them. And contrary to what he would want others to believe, these are recommended youths from the councillors, because we ask councillors to provide at least two, three volunteers to help us to become compliance officers and be able to make sure we maximize our revenue and we stop leakage of our revenue. We stop people pilfering our revenue from us. And they've done a very good job at that. They're really doing a great job. So, and when they started it, literally some of them have to travel to Brushby Turntable, some have to travel to Lameng, some have to travel to the different market zones and areas. And they would spend the whole day following the collectors, just to make sure that the collectors do not cheat and defraud the council. Now, we are giving them a token of, say, 3,000 at the end of the month. Jonga, who said he'd spend whole of his career dedicated to West Coast region, isn't that something that he should be proud of and take pride in? That he has been able to create job opportunity for at least 49 youths? But let me tell you what has been happening and why unkind people like him do not understand about creating opportunities for people. They had their own kabudus. He is more than happy signing letters for Mr. Jeng and the rest of Jeng's families to be employed in this council. But everybody else who has a little opportunity here is something that he hates and loathes very much. And this is a council that belongs to the people of West Coast. So many of our kids, just last week or last month, we lost as a region over 50 people through the back way. We're trying to create jobs for them, an opportunity, hope for them here. And who better leads that than the council, their local council in this region? But you, when you have an issue because you're being pushed aside for your own conduct, the people you want to fight is that of 49 young people who are trying to make a career, have a stepping stone of a career ladder in their lives. Those are your problems. That is what he is complaining about. So he made reference to, he said, this is in contravention of section 13. It cannot be, because it's already allocated. There is a budget line for honorarium payment which is not exhausted, is 200,000. If it is exhausted, he needs to come out and tell us what was spent as honorarium payment, which exhausted it, how did this happen, how much money Let him come out clean and tell the whole region about all of that. But to come out and say it's not allocated, that is just a lie. It's in the budget. And we can provide that to any media house that is interested in having that fact, because the facts are here. They don't lie, and they come from he himself. So that is the first point. And the second point, he mentioned contract committee. He said, General Council, spearheaded by the chairman, override the contract committee's request for more time to diligently scrutinize proposal to introduce digital tax administration. These two is complete, utter false. No iota of truth in it. What he failed, you see, the man is very cunning. In the beginning, he wants to cite and rely and make reference to legal provisions to support his arguments. Where the legal provisions don't support his arguments, he made no reference to them. This is the whole fact. Because contract committee is a subcommittee of the General Council, just like every other committees that we have. The law under section 34, 8 and 9 of the Local Government Act clearly stated, and I will read this for people to hear it. It says that the council may, subject to the provisions of this act, delegate such of its functions to a committee as it deems fit. Just like in this case, council said, contract committee, go and check this contract for us and then come back with your recommendation. But the final decision is the council. But subsection 9 went further. It says, the delegation of any function of council to a committee shall not prevent the council from exercising those functions. That is very clear. If you delegate it to any subcommittee, it doesn't prevent and shall not prevent you, the council, from making that decision that you asked that committee to do. So our good, very good lawyer CEO, who made reference and relied on section 13 and paragraph 504 in the first part of his aspersions, decided to omit the provisions of the law that dealt with this particular issue, and that was pointed to him in the council. But he decided to omit that because simply that doesn't favor his narrative. He wants, the whole idea of this is put out a narrative that makes the council look bad and let the public fall for it. Despite the fact that it is falsehood, I am misleading them, but I couldn't care as long as it is my narrative that sticks. This is his whole objective here. And we will elucidate on that, and I believe the public will see his dubiousness, and as a reason, one of the main reasons why he is not fit to be a CEO for a very big region like West Coast, and one reason why we have not been able to register any meaningful development for the last many years that this man had been a CEO in this region. So council acted within its powers to say, we've heard 3 different people that came here and gave us this digital platform, and we decided that that particular company, they were the best deal for us. They're 3 million, the rest are 8 million and other millions plus, and they were going to create an onboarding system for us, which they introduced to us, that which the other people didn't even know. We had to tell them, well, hold on here, that is what we want. Because we had a digital platform here, and that digital platform didn't take us any further because we did not have a pre-existing data. But we had a company that says that they can do onboarding, and this company introduced us to that one, and we know that can be done, and that's exactly where our problem is, and we want to solve that problem. So the council acted within its powers, as I made reference to 34, section 34, 8 and 9, subsection 8 and 9 of the Local Government Act 2002. So my advice to the estranged CEO is, if you want to be a lawyer, you go to law school. Don't just start quoting off head. That's not how law works. So he then mentioned about loans. That is also one of his allegations. He said, he further alleged that on 27 July 2023, the General Council, headed by the chairman, passed a unanimous resolution for a loan policy for only council members, thereby not considering the staff of council. This is also very big misleading statement. This is a document from BAC's loan policy that exists here. In that policy, CEO Mengbe Jonga has taken a loan of $500,000. He is paying, as at the 25th of July 2023, he is paying $3,726.32 every month. And he has a balance of $493,050 is 41 bottles. If there was no such loan policy for the staffs, how did he manage to get hold of this money? Did he steal it? But in the document, it says loans, BAC loan, apply, repay. That document is also here. It has a list of all the staffs who are taking loans. And at the moment, staffs have taken a loan at the tune of $3,482,691. That is the loan outstanding from our staffs. No councillor is part of that loan scheme. They cannot apply. It doesn't apply to them. They cannot do any such thing. If councillors want a loan or anything of that sort, they would either go to the banks or they borrow it from friends. That was the reason why a loan policy was brought in and resoluted for councillors. But it is also has a lot of caveats. It has a lot of conditions to be met. First is that the CEO and the finance director have to confirm that they have the funds to give out that loan. And the loan is not more than $100,000. And they can only take $100,000 in the first year of their term as councillors. In the second year, they cannot take $100,000, they can only take $75,000. And they will have to be paying this because it's automatically deducted from their allowances. So the final year, they can only take $15,000. All of that safeguards are taken because we want to make sure that they are able to pay and council doesn't lose out of the money. That is the loan scheme. He has $500,000 that he's taken as a loan. He's complaining about councillors who do not have that. But that tells you the sort of CEO we have, you know. He doesn't want, prior to that, councillors never heard anything. But he is complaining about councillors having that. You see what I mean? Even that loan, hardly, councillors have applied, but they've never got anything. Because when they apply, he said there is no fund. But that is one of the conditions. It says he has to approve that. He and Director of Finance have to prove that there is fund, sufficient fund to pay. If the sufficient fund is not there, councillors just accept that there is no fund for me to get it. So they cannot get that loan. They don't have access to it. But he and his staffs, they just give themselves whatever loan they want. You see what I mean? They give themselves, because that should have been, normally they should have a loans committee that should look into this. But the CEO arrogated all that power to himself. You see, we call Jonga the alpha and omega of BAC. He was like the chairman, the CEO, the director, the everything, HR manager, everything. He does literally everything of BAC. The staffs are terrorized by him. You ask a staff, can you go and do this? Like a chairman says, hey, somebody said that they have a waste or illegal dumping on at their site. Can you go and clear it? Have you spoken to the CEO? That's the response you get. And I'm like, hold on here. Is CEO my boss or I am his boss? And they'll be like, well, I don't know. I said, I am his boss. I don't go and ask him. Tell him to confirm it with me. I'll tell him I asked you to do it. But that is how BAC has been running. Because the CEO was having a chairman here who wasn't fit to be a chairman for, I don't know what to say, a primary school, much more the council here. So as a result, the CEO does everything that he wants. So the next allegation he made, he said interference in staff matters. That is the other allegation he said. He said, the chairman, since sworn in office, has made multiple attempts to interfere in staff matters such as redeployment and recruitments without due process, contrary to his functions, duties as stipulated under Section 15, 1, 2, 3. You know, the CEO, he has the old version of this one, which says that, because he has told me several times, he said, your role as the chairman is to supervise the general administration of the area. Not even the council, but the general administration of the area. That's how he likes to put it. But he failed to understand that there was an amendment done to this act in 2006 that under 2B clearly stated that the chairman shall be the head of the council and supervise the general administration of the area, including dealing with its rules, regulations, and taxes. But not only that, it went further. You see, you don't read law in parts, you read it holistically. When it goes to his CEO's own functions, the law said to the CEO, the chairman, the law now clears, is the head of council. Yeah? Together with the councillors, they are council itself. But the law also went and said to the CEO, your function is, you are answerable to the council, and you shall report to the chairman. And not only that, he said, you are under their direction and control. So, if someone claims to be the one that is responsible for the staffs, and he is the one, he said, I have the exclusive rights of staff matters, but you are under my direction and control, and you are reporting to me, you are answerable to us. How can you say that we cannot direct those staffs or direct you and all of those staffs to do what we want you to do? But it boils down to what I said. He is incompetent. He doesn't even know his TOR. If you do not know your TOR, you then make conflict of issues when there is no need for such. If you're controlled by me, your directions and everything are controlled by us. You and your staffs, whatever you do, you need to come to us. In fact, your role is to implement decisions that we make. If you're implementing those decisions and it's not done right way, who better knows that policy than the one that makes it? And you said that person cannot interfere into the staff matters because you have the exclusive rights. But he failed to understand that he, as a CEO, because the council, the way the organograph works, he CEO runs the admin side and comes directly to the chairman. Audit doesn't come to the CEO. They run admin side, they run the audit team, and they go straight to the chairman. Police and the commissioner of police runs from this side all the way up to the chairman. So staffs under him, collectors, if they want to go with the security, who do you talk to and take permission from? It's the chairman. The chairman has to take the police commissioner because that person doesn't report to you. He is directly under the chairman. You and them are on the same level. So if you want one thing communicated here and there, the apex, the head is up there. It's like telling a president of a country, you cannot tell staffs what they need to do, because the PMO is responsible for the staffs, or the Secretary General is responsible for the staff, but the Secretary General is under the President, isn't it? That's how the structure works. But when you have an incompetent CEO, it's very difficult for him to comprehend it, and you literally have to school him every day for him to understand it, but it's very difficult. And for him, he totally controlled all the staffs as he was doing, because then he was stepping in too many shoes. He was both CEO, he was both the chairman, he was doing everything. He commands the police commissioner on what to do. He tells the audit what they need to do. Literally, he was running everything. But despite having that monopoly over everything, the people of West Coast have not seen anything for it. That is the situation. So that allegation is baseless. We are not interfering with staffs. We are trying to make our staffs a lot more productive for the best interest of our people, because they are the ones that we are accountable. This is how it works. We are accountable to the people who elected us. They are accountable to us. That's how it has to work. Because if they're not accountable to us, how do we make the system work? How do we make the council to become a service delivery for our people? The people who are supposed to deliver the service are under someone else's control. It cannot work like that. So we are accountable to the people. If people want anything, they come to us. We tell them, go and do this for our people. That's how it's supposed to work. If it doesn't work like that, then there will be a break or disconnect in the chain, and that will not work. So he doesn't understand that, and he needs to be taught about it. So we are teaching him. If you're watching, and I know he is watching, this is a lesson for him. Listen to that, you know. So he also said verbal contract. You see, he doesn't understand. Contracts everywhere in the world are normally established through written or oral. In fact, 99% of contracts that are entered in a day in any given society is done through oral agreement. If you go to a shop to buy something, you are entering into a contract. But that is done orally. So what matters in any contract is when the people understand what the terms are. But this one, in fact, he is just lying about it, because this was not only oral contract. This is a written contract that Finistec came and signed for it, and then we went for this one. So this is the one that he also mentioned about Finistec. So he said in this contract, he said, Jonga accused the chairman of entering into a verbal contract with Finistec Construction Company to provide 2 vacuum tank trucks to drain flooded markets, secondary roads and streets during the rainy season for the months of June, July, September, August, October, without the involvement of the contract committee. That is a blatant lie. Contract committee sat over this thing. And Jaman Kamara is here. Jaman is a councillor who is part of the contract committee. They sat on this thing in June. And not only that, it also came to the general council floor. Because this was a contract that nobody in the council could go against. We were in the rainy season. One of the biggest problems we always experience in Brukama is the flooding of our market. And this year, we said that is not going to happen. And Jonga said 1 million, he said the contract is going to cost council 1,027,000. He wants the public to think that this is a huge lot of money. But you know what? In the budget, 6.5 million was budgeted this year for Jonga to get a septic tank. Where is the septic tank? It's nowhere to be seen. We came in June. This should have been acquired since January. It's budgeted, it's given to him. Get people of West Coast a septic tank. He decided not to have it. We came in and we found ourselves in a rainy season and there was no septic tank. But we know that there's a lot of money budgeted for it. We had 6.5 million. If we had a septic tank, what was it going to do in the rainy season? It was going to drain the market. It was going to drain the streets, exactly what he said these septic tanks were supposed to do. But this was the cheapest deal, because when we came in, the first day it rained, the first day I went into the fish market and saw that nasty water there, I paid almost 38,000, my own money, and I never claimed that money back from council. I paid that from my own money to drain that place. 38,000 just one day. Just one day. These septic tanks were draining those places for a whole week for 20,000 and 30,000, 2 of them, 50,000 for a whole week. When it rains, they will go and start with the mosque area, the cassava junction, and then they will go to the fish market when the market vendors have started going home. We did that, we were doing that on every day, because when you are to take septic tanks, when you are to hire it, they charge us 3,500 per trip. These vehicles were doing almost 20 to 30 trips in a day. Two of them. One will do 15, the other will do 10 there, or they will do 15 or 16, sometimes even more. Sometimes they are here until very late in the evening. But even that was not enough. We wish we had our own septic tank. Because if we had our own septic tank, we would have gotten 2 or 3 teams. First team will go in the morning. When they finish work, second team comes in the afternoon. Another team come in the evening. Then we would be able to clear a lot of other places. When we said septic tanks can do this job, many people thought that we were just bluffing. But when it started, in fact, the market people almost on a daily basis, the moment it rains, the first thing you get is market people calling you. Where are the septic tanks? We are flooded here. We need this water drain. Everybody got used to it. So the septic tanks would just go and drain everywhere. When you get into the market, you wouldn't think that it had even rained, but it did. In previous years, people have to live with those waters in the market for months and months, for the whole of the rainy season. This year we said we are not having it. And not only that, the septic tanks helped us to clean police, the hospital, Yundum barracks. These are their letters. All of them writing. This one is from the police. I write on behalf of the staff of Brikama Police Station to express our appreciation to you through Honorable Mane. They meant Honorable Jaho. Honorable Mane of Nyambai Ward for the assistance given by draining the sockaway in the station. On Saturday, the 8th of July, Honorable Mane dispatched a tank to empty the sockaway. This gesture came at a moment when we were wondering how to best solve the problem. Despite this intervention, the sockaway is still full, is full again, suggesting that there is a fault somewhere in our plumbing and sewage system. Yet this is just one of several challenges facing our police station at the moment. With this issue in mind, I would like to invite you to visit our station to see the condition under which police personnel are compelled to work. This is from the SO of the police station telling us that. The military police, a request for military truck, for sanitary truck for the Gambia Armed Forces Military Police Office at Yundum Barrack. The Office of the Chief of Defense Staff of Gambia Armed Forces presents its sincere compliment to the Chairman of BAC, and I have the honor to request for the above mentioned subject for the Gambia Armed Forces. The list goes on. The paramilitary at Brufut, the hospital in Sibanor, which had never heard. They said the hospital was built since in the 70s, but their septic tanks have never been emptied. Until this year, we are supposed to go and empty it. That is the importance of septic tanks to us in this council and to the people of this region. So, Jonga said, we spent 1 million on septic tanks. I said, alas. Finally, we spent 1 million on the people of West Coast this year. Because we have not spent anything on them. What else have we spent this year on the people of West Coast? Nothing. From January to now, all the money had been spent on Jonga's travel, Sirifo's travel, Jeng's opulent lifestyle. Nothing else was spent on the people of West Coast. But at least, thank God, they can say we had benefited $1 million is from our revenue, which was plowed back to us through the septic tanks. So this is something we are proud of. But we say, it is the misrepresentation for him to say that that was done through orally only. But even if it is done orally only, contracts are usually entered orally or written. And this was not done orally. This was done written. Written contract was given to Jonga himself. He still refused to sign his part. We don't know why. But he should sign it. Because, and those companies up to date have not been paid a penny. None of them have been paid a penny. But each day, I don't know whether you pass it, there is one that is standing outside there. If we need anywhere, we tell them go and clear that or drain that place. They will go and drain it. Go and drain there. In fact, council's own markets, we had to go and drain it.
They are right now at the fish market.
Okay, they are right now at the fish market, draining there. But that is That is service delivery. That's what councils are supposed to do. Nobody in West Coast can fault us for spending that money in draining our markets and mitigating the challenging lifestyle that our people had to endure during rainy seasons, in this rainy season. And next year, unlike what happened in the past, next year we hope to have our own septic tanks, and I think it is budgeted. We hope to have our own septic tanks, not just one, but 2 of them, because we realize that that is very important. Just like garbage trucks, we cannot go without septic tanks. And these septic tanks were all part of this Senea project. And this CEO, just as incompetent as he is, doesn't even know that that exists as part of that project. So he then went on to allowances. This is where it becomes even more interesting. The CEO said, on 13 July, under the leadership of the chairman, the General Council passed a unanimous resolution to increase its meeting allowances from 1,500 to 2,500 bi-weekly. The monthly allowance for the chairman is increased from 18,000 to 25,000. The deputy chairman from 9,500 to 20,000. You see how much that has leaped. From 9,500 to 20,000. He went on to say, councillors from 6,500 to 15,000. This is incredible. This is very, very sad. Because I have a letter here, and I will share this letter with you. This letter was written by CEO Jonga, and he sent this letter to the ministry. But this is what he said in the letter. He said, I write to convey a second general resolution dated 22nd June 2023 on the increment of monthly allowances for the chairman, deputy chairman, councillors, and the monthly general council meetings for the Honorable Minister's consideration and approval. Said in the said resolution, the General Council proposed the Council to pay 15,000, Deputy 20,000, Chairman 25,000, and then the sitting 2,500 from 1,500. He said the said resolution and proposed increment are herewith attached for your kind consideration. He went on to say, an earlier letter was sent to on the 16th of February 2022 for the Honorable Minister's approval on the same subject matter. Now you all heard what he said. He wrote that. An earlier letter was sent to your ministry on the 16th of February on the same subject matter. A copy of the previous correspondence is equally attached. That correspondence of 16 February is also here. And in that one he says, I write to convey to you the general resolution dated 14 February 2023 for increment of councillors' allowance for the Honorable Minister's approval. The names of the councillors that signed the said resolution and the proposed increment are herewith attached for your kind retention. He then attached the resolution. But you know what is funny about that one? It says, currently, this document that he himself sent this to the ministry, he said monthly allowance for the chairman, for the councillors. He said councillors, the current allowance, he's talking about February, he said the current allowance is 13,000, proposed increment is 2,000 to make it 15,000. That's what his document says. Jonga himself wrote this and sent it to the ministry in February. But Jonga in the interview with Standard said, we increased it from 6,500 to 15,000. But at the time of his own letter, he said councillors were receiving 13,000 and there was only an increment of 2,000 from 13 to 15,000. And then he also said sitting allowance. Exactly, it wasn't the current council because we came in June. Yeah. But Jonga wrote this in February to tell the ministry that this is the increment. But Jonga, when he was writing this, he wants the whole world to see. Huh? Yes, he's owing the councillors 10,000. Yes, the old councillors, because he refused to pay them. So he said, yes, he said in this one that it is the chairman who increased it from 6,500 to 15,000. What a leap. But in February, when he was writing to the minister, he told the minister, councillors' current allowance is 13,000. And the proposed increment is 2,000 for it to be 15,000. He then said, sitting allowance for the councillors was to move from, was at the time 1,500 and the increment of 1,000 to make it 2,500. He said the vice chairman, remember what he said the vice chairman was at? He was at 9,500 and they want to increase it to 20,000. But in this letter, he said the vice deputy chairman is at 17,500 and an increment of 2,500 to make it 20,000. So you see how misleading Jonga is to the public. But this is his own letter. And he is the custodian of council documents. How come he forgot about his own letter that he wrote on the 27th of June and attached this to the ministry? So he also went on, he said, chairman's allowance at the time he said was 21,000 per month. And he said, increment of 4,000 to 25,000. So, but in here, he said chairman's allowance jumped from 18,000 to 25,000. This is his own. So this is not something that we brought in. This was brought in by the previous council and resoluted, and it was sent. But before that, the previous council budgeted this. This is already budgeted in 2023. The councillors, Mudlamin Sanyang is here, Diba is here, they had to go to the ministry to defend this. The ministry approved it. It became our budget. Jonga sat on it, and you know, this is what was so annoying with Jonga. Jonga makes decisions, like I said, he's the alpha and omega of this institution. He makes decisions willy-nilly, anyhow he likes, and then it becomes final. So he sat on this, he said he will not pay the councillors that amount of money. We said to him, hold on here, that works on the city force days, but this is my day, this will not work. And this council now, we're not taking it lightly, we'll pass a resolution. If you go against our resolution, we get rid of you. But you have to pay what is agreed and resoluted, and it's gone. But to also make so it becomes stronger, we said it's not going to be just chairman saying it. All the councillors, let's vote. Every councillor voted for it because it's a resolution that has to be respected. And we cannot say because it was a resolution done by the previous council, we are not going to honor it. No, if the next council comes, they can also say about the same thing about our resolution and will not adhere to it. And that is bad. Council resolutions, council is a continuity, just like a government. When we make decisions, they are supposed to have a binding effect on the next council. So we told him to increase it. But Jonga blatantly and deliberately had no saying, no honor, no integrity. Wrote in the media, maybe he will come out and say, I did not tell that to stand up. They wrote it themselves. Because he wrote it here. He said we moved it from 6,500 to 15,000. But in his own letters to ministry, which he CC'd to my office, he is telling a different story. But that's the sort of person he is. It was so unfortunate for the people of West Coast to have a pathological liar as its CEO. And that's how it is. And now it is proven to the whole world that this is what has been happening. So he went on, the next allegation he made, and he said this was in complete contravention of Section 12 of the Local Government Act. We increase our own salaries, everything, you know. How can it be when the minister himself and the ministry approved the budget, and it is in the budget, that this is what it's supposed to be paid? But you know why we had to go after him is because at the same time when we came in, we realized that he was withholding these allowances. So you see what was happening is, the chairman, Sirifo Sonko, when he was here, he was getting paid 18,000 while Jonga is paid 29,000. And the director of finance, who is the director, bottom on, below everyone, he is paid almost 35,000. How is that even possible? When the chairman is supposed to be the head of the institution. But it tells you who are the most powerful people. Jeng is more powerful, for obvious reason, Jeng has the whole of his clan and everybody who is from his lineage in the council. The council become no longer Brikama Area Council, but Brikama Jeng Kundat Area Council. So Jeng is the most powerful, so he gets more pay. Jonga is the second most powerful, Jonga gets the second highest pay. And the chairman that was here, who doesn't even know his left, right, and center, he got paid by whatever amount that was given to him. So the next one was, he said revenue. He said the chairman through Senia project, he went on to approve his own. They printed their own printing at the council when it's supposed to be done by GPPC. You see, funny enough, on this part, he didn't cite any law. He said there's a ministerial whatever executive directive from the ministry that all revenue should be done through GPPC. But when he came to my office, I asked him to bring that ministerial directive, just like everything else. When you want to find a document that BAC owns, ask Jonga, you will never find it. And he's the custodian of all records of BAC. We had an issue with Tambana. He said Tambana is, because Tambana, he said it's council owns Tambana. And Bulundala said, no, it's not owned by Tambana. Tambana is owned by Brikama Bulundala. We gave it to you for you to dump there. Jonga said, no. In fact, we had our own site. We had the mapping of it. I said, go and get me the map. That became history. He still cannot find it. Because he cannot find any document. In the last council sitting, our own substation office in Bruceby, where we had entered into a contract. So this, he's accusing us of entering into verbal contract. He had a contract, a tenancy agreement with the landlords of that substation. And we asked him on the 10th of this month, or last month, October, to provide us with a copy of that, of the detail, because some of the subcommittee members went there and they found that there are arrears owed to the owners of that office. He said he's not aware of it. But you are supposed to know everything. You are the CEO of the council. You're supposed to know everything. He said he's not aware. He's been asked to find out. He said the head of the substation was on leave. He couldn't find out. He was waiting on that person to come, for him and that person to go to the landlord in order to retrieve the contract that they entered with the landlord. I mean, what kind of CEO is that? You don't even have your tenancy agreements. You don't have your leasehold agreements with private enterprises or private property owners. And you are being told you are owing, you don't even know what rent you're supposed to be paying. But that is the sad situation we find. That's why we said this man is completely incompetent. So with the Senate tickets, he went to GPPC. He said it was going to cost us 500,000 plus to print the tickets. And then the IT department says these tickets are very simple. We could do them here without incurring that much cost. And this is a new venture we are entering into. We don't know whether we are going to get any money or people going to rebel against us or anything of that sort. Do you take such a risk? We told him, no. We will go with the cheaper deal. Because if it can be printed here, we will go with that. He said, no. Revenue has to be printed by GPPC. We said, bring the law. If the law said it has to be printed by them, we'll go and print with them. He brought a preamble which says, if you cannot do it internally, you can go to GPPC, but don't go to any other party. That's what that letter said, that preamble said. If council cannot print anything, it has to go to GPPC, not to any other third party. I said, yes, that is loud and clear. But this one we can print internally. Why should we go there now? And he himself said, yes, now we can go ahead. But you know what he did? Instead of adhering to what we said, he went and printed at GPPC. So he printed, the order we told him not to do so, he went and printed it and he could not pay. That led to everything, all the problem we are having with the GPPC. Because he printed it, knowing fully well that he had no money for it, and up to date we are owing them money to pay that. And those tickets are still lying there, we could not collect it because we don't have the money to pay it. And the consequences of that is that we ended up owing enough money to a point that GPPC said, and this is the point he went on, the revenue collection, on the order, on his reaction on Friday. He said the GPPC one was misrepresented because he said he paid 148. He was owing GPPC $1 million or 880 something thousand dollars. That's what he was owing at the time. He took 148,000 to them. And those people said, no, we are not giving you your tickets because you're owing us 887. You need to make a substantial payment, not 148. Instead of paying the more money that is required, he went on to give priority to maintenance or the servicing of his vehicle. And I think people have heard what he said. He said because he had given priority to other things prior to that, and the fact that he was relying on friends to drop him from work and back to work, therefore he had to give priority to the servicing of his vehicle. But we told him prior to that, don't print those tickets there, we could print them at IT, and it's cheaper. If he had known that, we would not have gotten ourselves into that problem with GPPC of owing them that huge lot of money. But he didn't listen. He went and did that. So that is his whole point. Now he said it's a ministerial executive order. One of the things he failed to understand is that ministerial orders are not law. They are not law, they are just executive orders. If the minister wants to make it law, he will go to parliament and pass it as a law, and then it applies to us. But if the minister doesn't say it and then make executive orders and then tell us to do that, we will say no, we're not answerable to you in the first place. Our law said under section 124 of the Local Government Act, it says we are answerable to our electorate, not you. And that's what it says, we are answerable to our electorates and then the parliament. It says, the law said we come to you when we have a budget with our emolument and salaries for you to approve, or when we need other help, we come to you, but we are not answerable to you. So you cannot sit there, make directives, and then you said it has to apply to us. The same thing he did with us when he came to traveling. He said there was a government travel ban, it applies to, we said no, that applies to you and your team, it doesn't apply to us. We are councillors, we are not, it doesn't, they don't tell us what to do, we run our own budget lines. So you see, so that explains that part. So Jonga misled people on that front, that we went against ministerial orders. He has still up to date, has not shown us that ministerial order, which says that we have to, and he went on to say, I think he said this was since 2018. How can ministerial order since 2018 be still applying to us? It just doesn't make any sense. But what the minister is saying and what the GPPC Act is even saying are different. That says if you can do internally, but if you cannot do internally, you have to give priority to GPPC. So that is a baseless allegation. Then he went on to revenue collection. He said General Counsel passed a resolution empowering compliance officers to collect, and he went on to section 120. Again, he doesn't understand section 120, because section 120, this is what section 120 says, and we will read that for maybe because he's probably watching so that he understands what section 120 says. Section 120 subsection 1 says a council shall, in the case of an officer employed by it, whether under this or any other enactment, who by reason of his or her employment is likely to be entrusted with the custody or control of money, take such security for the faithful execution of his or her duty and for his or her duly accounting of all money, property which may be entrusted to him or her as the council may consider sufficient. That's what it says with employees of council shall take those measures. But section 122 says when they are not employees, a council may, the law is very clear there, you may, when you hear these languages in or words used in legal jargon, it gives discretion of the person, it gives them a discretion. So it's your discretion. If you want, you take it or take such measures. If you do not want, you do not, because it says you may do this or you may not do that. You know what I mean? But when it says you shall do it, or you must do it, that is, it is commanding you to do it. You don't have a discretion anymore. So it says when it is in case of our staffs, we have to take those measures. But when it is not a staff, it's a discretion. You can do it or you don't do it. And you can understand why the lawgiver brought it in that way. Because when it is not yourself, you are depending on that person's help. And if you are depending on the person's help, you want to bring cumbersome burdens on that person. The person can say, you know what, I'm not doing it. Because I'm not even your staff. I'm not providing you this and that. But you need that person's help. That is why that room is accommodated. But in any event, people that we entrusted to collect, all sort of measures are in place to make sure they don't pilfer, because A, we provide them security, B, we provide them, provide them with compliance officers, and they also are providing that money, and they don't collect more than 20, 30,000 without banking it in the banks. So, and then also these are people recommended by councillors. So there is all sort of reason to trust them. But if needs be, you always learn. If needs be, 1, 2, 3, we could secure other things from them as collaterals and security. We have that discretion. It is given to us, but it is not a must. And that's what he failed to understand. So he said we are in breach of section 120. My response is, and the response of this council is, no, we are not in breach of 120, because 120 says it is our discretion. Yeah? So the next one, he says signatures. He says he alleged that in the absence of a formal final decisions of the Local Government Service Commission on the recommendation of General Council on November 1st, the chairman acted unlawfully to instruct the banks without administrative authority to change the current signatories to our council account. He doesn't understand. This council, the accounts to this council are not in Modu Jeng's name or Modu Jonga's name. All the accounts are in the name of Brikama Area Council. The law said the council is made up of the chairman, elected councillors, and nominated councillors. And the accounts are in our name. If we want, we can move his name from there. And that is in our discretion. If we don't trust Jeng to be our signatory to our account, we remove him, we put someone else there. If we do not trust Jonga to be a signatory, we remove him and put someone there. That is our discretion. That is council. The banks are in our account. So when the council made a resolution that they want Jonga out, they took it, they are very serious about that. They took the decision that they don't want him to be signing their documents anymore. And that's exactly what we communicated to the banks. We told the banks, here is the General Council resolution. Here are the councillors who signed it. They said they do not want Jonga as their CEO. And as such, he shouldn't be signing their bank statements and all that. That's what we communicated. He said we acted unlawfully. I don't know under what law have we acted or we contravened in that. But this is the false narrative that Jonga wants to depict out there. So we go on to the next part where he said, this is his response to Jar Oil loan. So he said that they took the loan of 2.5 million at Jar Oil to pay salaries for November 2022. That's what he says. So two things he is admitting here. A, council salaries are not more than 2.5 million. That becomes clear now. And this is honorable councillors that are here with us. On the recommendation of General Counsel on November 1st, the chairman acted unlawfully to instruct the banks without administrative authority to change the current signatories to our council account. He doesn't understand. This council, the accounts to this council are not in Modu Jeng's name or Modu Jonga's name. All the accounts are in the name of Brikama Area Council. The law said the council is made up of the chairman, elected councillors and nominated councillors. And the accounts are in our name. If we want, we can move his name from there. And that is in our discretion. If we don't trust Jeng to be our signatory to our account, we remove him, we put someone else there. If we do not trust Jonga to be a signatory, we remove him and put someone there. That is our discretion. That is council. The banks are in our account. So when the council made a resolution that they want Jonga out, they took it, they are very serious about that. They took the decision that they don't want him to be signing their documents anymore. And that's exactly what we communicated to the banks. We told the banks, here is the General Council resolution. Here are the councillors who signed it. They said they do not want Jonga as their CEO. And as such, he shouldn't be signing their bank statements and all that. That's what we communicated. He said we acted unlawfully. I don't know under what law have we acted or we contravened in that. But this is the false narrative that Jonga wants to depict out there. So we go on to the next part where he said, this is his response to Jar Oil loan. So he said that they took the loan of 2.5 million at Jar Oil to pay salaries for November 2022. That's what he says. So two things he is admitting here. A, council salaries are not more than 2.5 million. That becomes clear now. And this is relevant, and I will get to that, why that is relevant here. So, secondly, he took the loan without council resolution, without council being aware of it, without the blessing of the council. He made that decision on his own. Secondly, he accused us at the beginning. He said we were in breach of section 13(1) and 504 of the financial manual because he said we paid 148 honorarium which is not budgeted. That's what he said. He said we paid that to 49 compliance officers, and that was in contravention of section 13(1) of the Finance and Audit Act, of Local Government Finance and Audit Act. But he is now admitting here that he took a loan of 2.5 million from Jar Oil and then paid staff salary for November 2022. The question is, was that also budgeted? In his budget, when he was doing for 2022, did he say, I put when I run out of salary? It's not. So he's admitting to the very offense he is accusing us of doing. That is his own admission here, because it was a loan. But you did not budget it. It was not part of your 2022 budget. So you acted in contravention of section 13, that which you, they said if you live in a glass house, you don't throw stones. He was throwing aspersions at us of the very thing that he is now admitting to have committed. He took 2.5 million, but not only that, he also went on, said CEO Jonga said, I can confirm that the sum of 33 million has been received for the period of July 2019 to December 2022, and I have formally acknowledged receipt of these payments into our accounts as a demonstration of transparency and accountability. This one is really, really funny, because the councillors are here, and then if I go through the council minutes here, from the 22nd, we have been demanding the CEO to tell us what has happened to our geology funds. And Honorable Chare is here, and I think Chare will elaborate on that, because Honorable Chare went to the CEO several occasions to say to him, look, are these geology funds there or not? He said they are there. In his own encounter with us, the council on the 27th of July, this is council minutes, our sitting minutes. It says, considering the time this particular issue, geology, it says update on geology and royalty funds. Considering the time this particular issue consumed and clouds surrounding the fund, his office will formally engage the Department of Geology to provide them with information on how much money was paid as royalty to BAC and to which account these payments were made, Honorable Chairman stated. He urged the CEO to give a clear update on the funds as to the availability of the funds and to which account those funds were being kept. Honorable Chairman emphatically emphasized that this fund cannot go into the thin air, as the council is willingly ready to reach the climax to unearth the whole truth surrounding these funds. It went on, it says, CEO stated that $7 million of the fund was kept in the Eco Bank and $2 million is at the Access Bank. However, the amount at Eco Bank was used as collateral to enable to attain to operational expenditure of the council, and a certificate to that was obtained, he reported. At the moment, fund at Eco Bank can only pay forwards, while the rest will be paid from the Access Bank account. He concluded urging members to grant approval for disbursement of the fund to beneficiaries, as he already processed the RPGs forms through which all payments shall be effected, he said. Honorable Chairman concluded the CEO's explanation of the fund was insufficient and further request CEO to provide evidence to substantiate his submission. Members expressed their disappointment for CEO's failure to disburse the fund on the stipulated date as resolution, and many concluded that the fund was not available contrary to his report. Councillor Boto Bojam proposed for sending both CEO and Director of Finance to the administrative leave by council resolution and to continue investigating the issues surrounding the fund. His proposal was supported by members. However, upon CEO's plea before members to grant him approval for disbursal, Honorable Chairman prevailed on members to accord him the last opportunity for the benefit of the doubt. So this was what was happening, but the CEO said he has been accounting this to us. But you see, the lie that he also made, the false narrative he also gave was that he said the CEO said he said transparency and accountability. That never exists anyway. He went on to say, over the period, the sum of 11,868,435.97 had been disbursed to Kafuta, Jiboro, Pirang, Kembuje, and then Bullock and Sanyang, each receiving a sum of 1,014,285 in July 2023. This wasn't even July 2023. It was in August. But even that, he cannot tell the truth. You know, it was in August 8th to be precise, that's when the payments were made, August 8th. But not only that, he said, in addition, Jonga added that in 2021, the sum of 3.8 million was paid. So when you add the 11 plus the 3.8, you get something like 15 million. This is the biggest false, misleading statement anybody could have made. 2021, Jonga paid 3.8 million, that's it. 2023, he paid only 9 million. You add that together, you get 11 point something. It's not like he paid 11 point something and then 3 point something. That is just not true. All he paid up to now is 11.868,435. Jonga never told us that he received 33 million from the ministry. He never told us that. In fact, if anything he has been telling us is that he only received 21 million. 21 million. That's all he said he had received all these years. And that is what this council had been led to believe all these years. But you see, when the ministry's letter came, what the ministry told us was this. In 2020, on the 20th of May 2020, they paid Brikama Area Council 7.8 million for geology. For these geology funds are not revenue. They're not council revenue to start with. They are funds that are given to council to reparate, to compensate wards that are affected by mining. The councillor for Bullock Ward will tell you of an incident where youths of Bullock were going to stop the vehicles from mining there, from collecting gravel there, simply because they said they are not getting anything back. And that despite all the pollution and everything, that environmental degradation that was doing to their region. That's what this money was supposed to go back to and compensate those people so that they can utilize that money into some other things in the region for development and ameliorate and mitigate the damage that is caused by mining in their region. This money came 7.8 million in 2020. Jonga didn't pay a dime to these people. He kept the whole money here. What happened to that money? He's been telling us that that money was in the accounts. He said specifically the money was in an EcoBank account. That's what he told us. It was in an investment in EcoBank audit trail account. On the 21st of January, ministry paid 4.7 million in geology to BAC. On the 12th of October, they paid 1.3 million. On the 26th of October, these are all 2021, they paid another 4.16 million. When you add it together, 10 million was paid by the 27th of October 2021. By the 26th of October 2021, 10 million was paid in addition to 7.8 million that was paid in 2020. When you add it together, 18 million was received by that date. And all that Jonga did, by his own admission, he paid only 3.8 in 2021. Only 3.8 million was what he paid. Why did he pay 3.8 million when he was in receipt of 18 million? And that money was not council's money, but it was for the wards that are affected by mining. Why didn't he give it to those wards? But he sat on that money here. 2022, geology gave him 13 million. In addition to that money, now Jonga, from this newspaper interview, he said he spent 21,506,734.95 was spent on the implementation of 4 important access roads within Brikama. Brikama wasn't even part of the communities or wards that are supposed to benefit from this. Brikama wasn't even part of it. Who did Jonga get the blessing or authority from to spend that money? And also, these monies were never even budgeted. They were not part of his budget line. And he never told us this council. He said transparency and accountability. My colleagues are here. Maybe he told them when I was in my absence. But I never remember Jonga telling us that he spent 21 million of the geology fund on the road access here. It was never supposed to be spent. That those roads, the road works were all budgeted. So that means for the last 4 years, BAC has never spent a penny of its own or a bottle of its revenue on any development work here. In fact, what they did is they spent the geology money to develop the access roads, the little work that they keep saying they have done in Westport. So, I mean, I don't know where to even start because the lies are that so much that it is incredible for anyone to believe. How can the CEO, who is saying that people should not spend beyond their budget, took money that is coming from geology, which is not even part of his budget? Because as you see, geology, the money was going, is unpredictable. It is determined by their side. But what is even funny, geology said 3 million of that money was an overpayment, which should not have been used, it should have been returned. But Jonga is saying, I spent on road construction. But you know what is even funny? You know what is even funny? The road constructions happened in 2020, 2021. These geology geology, the huge chunk of it came in 2022. 13 million plus came in 2022. To be precise, it came in some part of it was paid in June this year, 2023. And then 2020, but he wants us to believe that he spent all of that in the road construction. He said 21 million of that, because he already disbursed 13 plus 11 plus 3, that makes it 15, and then the remaining 21 million was spent on road construction in Brikama. But half of that payment, according to geology, according to the ministry's document, the last payment was made on the 12th of June 2023, and the other one was October 17 October 2022 and 27 October 2022. So the question is, how was he able to spend that which was paid in June 2023 in 2021? He reversed the clock. But that tells you what we're dealing with. We're dealing with...
The letter was sent to you.
In fact, the letter was sent to me, but he decided to withhold on the letter until geology had to provide me a copy before we get our own copy. And the letter, funny enough, was addressed to the chairman. Geology only were CC'd into that letter. But they got theirs on the 25th, while I got mine on the 31st. When he knew that we already got this from geology. So this is the sort of person we are dealing with. So the other one, before my presentation finished, he said, withdrawals in 2023, he said, Jonga said, only the sum of 8,902,272.44 was withdrawn for the period of January to June 2023, and not over 50 million as claimed in the resolution. I think this one, he probably must have been drunk. He couldn't have been with his full conscience to make such a claim. Maybe Standard misquoted him, to tell you the truth. I would want to believe that, because I have a copy of our Eco Bank here. I think your cameras can zoom in and even take a picture of it. Eco Bank, the bank gives you the full summary at the top here. If you look at the summary, it says our opening balance was minus 5.5 million. Our closing balance was minus 6.3 million as at 30th of June. So from January, 1st of January 2023 to 30th of June 2023, it says the total amount that came in, total deposit that was entered into our account was $16,849,317 came into that account alone. And it says within that period, total withdrawals was $61,687,150.37 bututs. If Jonga tells you that only 8 million is withdrawn in our account, what is he referring to as 8 million? Because this is just the Eco Bank. And by the way, we have 11 accounts. So if Eco Bank withdrawal is 16 million, this 8 million that he is talking about, where is that referred? Which bank is he referring to? Because I have brought, that is Eco Bank, and then the other is Guarantee Trust Bank. Vista, I didn't even print that one out, because the reason why I did not print that one out, because it's difficult for me to do the calculation on those ones. But these other two, I brought them because they give you a tally at the bottom of it. Eco Bank, it gives you at the top, and then GT, no, not that one. GT Bank, this is the GT Bank. So GT Bank, if you look at the bank statements here, you go down at the bottom, it will tell you how much money was credited, the total that is credited on one page. Each page will give you, and then you get the final at the bottom of it. So when you go as at the 30th of June, it says the total amount that is credited in that account was $8,533,082.32 bureaus, and the total withdrawal was $8,300,601. Maybe this is the one he's referring to, because that 8 million now plus the withdrawals that are made in this account, you realize that almost 61 million is withdrawn here, 686 plus 8 million something, you get almost 70 million is withdrawn between those two accounts alone. Other accounts we have not even calculated. So if he says 8 million, only 8,900,000 and something, that is just not true. And the accounts are here. And this is clearly, it says statement period. If you look at the statement period, it said from the 1st of January 2023 to 30th of June 2023, 60 million is withdrawn in the EcoBank account. And this other account, 8 million is withdrawn plus. Add them together, you get almost 70 million. So he blatantly wants to say, in fact, what he failed to understand is we were not talking about the amount that is withdrawn. Because when we put all the accounts together, you would find that Vista, Access, and then Zenith, and then you talk about the Trust Bank, it's a lot of money. It's over 100 million plus that was withdrawn. What we are talking about, the 50 million, is the withdrawals that have not been justified. It means these are withdrawals that were not backed by vouchers. They were not backed by any explanation as to what those payments were for. So you just see it there like this is withdrawn, this amount is withdrawn, and you don't know what that withdrawal was for. That is what we are saying. Because remember I said to you what Jonga said about the jar oil money. He said we took 2.5 million for our salaries. Salaries are 2.5 million, indeed. If you're spending 2.5 million on salaries, just think about it. You made a withdrawal of 60, almost 70 million in two accounts between January to June. That certainly cannot be about salaries, because 2.5 by 6, that is 15 million. That you are meant to spend only 15 million on salaries. You could not have spent 15 out of almost 70. You're talking about 55 million now disappearing in thin air. What have you spent it on that? What have you spent it on? That is the question. That's what we've been telling him. And he could not bring that evidence, and all he's doing is trying to distract the public, trying to tell the public that actually they did this, they did that, they did this, they did this, which is in contravention. But he is spending money that which is not budgeted. Who is guilty of that offense than Modu Jonga himself? So the last but not least, he said about the appointment of, he said Omar Sadiq and Malik Jeng and Suleiman Jeng, this is the Jeng clan. He said these people were respectively appointed by the Service Commission in 2012 and 2014, and not me. For his information, I bet he is watching, Service Commission stopped or ended in 2012. How were they able to appoint in 2014? You see what I'm saying? If they ceased to exist in 2012, how were they able to appoint in 2014? But those ones, Shirfo will elucidate on that, because in fact most of them, the offer of the appointment is given by Jonga. The appointment letters are all authorized by one man, Jonga. Appointments in the council are usually done by Establishment and Appointment Committee of Council. CEO only implements when those people say, we have taken so and so person for a job. And that is to a certain grade. Beyond that, the appointment is done by Service Commission, and it comes and he effected. But in here, the CEO has been the one individual who's been appointing a whole family into council, even appointing ghost workers, people who have just been appointed and they are not working for us. That is what has been happening. But he is confronted with that truth. He finds it difficult to handle it. He tries to mislead and fool everybody. But let me make this clear to him. The days of fooling people is over. Evidence is here. And this council, whenever you try to mislead, we will come at every given point and every given opportunity to clarify it with evidence. This is his own record. He gave it to the public, and the evidence says otherwise. Everything he told Standard was just misleading, false, and nothing but false. So I'm going to let Honorable Chare to... So the land transfer document, that is something we also said. And he did not say anything about that, but we have the evidence here. You would see in the evidence that we have, the previous land transfers, they are here, they always have, you would have the CEO would approve it, and it would be endorsed by the chairman of BAC. That's how land transfers are always done. That's how they've always been done here. But when they were increased to 7,000, like this year, this is the new one. It's only approved by CEO Jonga, and the chairman doesn't even know that he is doing this because he doesn't tell anybody. Those 7,000 that are being paid to BAC, you can imagine how many lands get transferred in BAC, because all the lands, in fact, that are transferring in this country are all happening in West Coast region. See, we have so many estates doing transfers, people buying and selling left, right, and center everywhere. Yes, 7,000. You see, 7,000 is more. They are paying a lot more. But on his documents, he is only having 7,000.
It's more than a year. What are you saying?
Not only this year, exactly. So we don't even know. Yeah, so we don't know. But Jonga is the only person signing this document. And remember what Jonga said, I am transparent and accountable, he said. He is transparent and accountable. If you're transparent and accountable, why would you just have only your name as signing these things? And you omit this, and you know what is funny? He did this without even telling the members of this council or the previous council, because I don't think the previous council were ever informed of this. Neither the current council. We didn't know. In fact, I was there, the vice chairman came with this. He said, Chairman, did you know that Jonga is signing this land transfers on his own? I said, but how is that possible? I said to him, that's why all the ones that I am signing are those of the past. I keep signing for Sunkar Baji, I keep signing for Bakar Saibo, I keep signing for, but I never seen the one for Sirifo and Jonga. So on the whole, Jonga was the only person doing it. And how do we hold them accountable of this? All this money, because we are told that the amount of money that is coming on land transfer alone to BAC should be sufficient to pay all of our development needs as well as our recurrent needs. Yes. Only 30 million. Only 30 million came the whole of this year. But in the accounts it's showing 60 million, 70 million coming into account. So the amount of fraud that Jonga, the person who said, I have dedicated all my life in BAC, I have rose through the ranks, I have done this, I have done that, but he has nothing to show for it. Nothing to show for it, because he's been sitting on a kabudu and a cabal that was just defrauding our wealth and our money and everything. That's why we said we had enough of it. But this is the sort of person Service Commissioner sent to BAC, to the people of BAC. That is the sort of person. A person who wouldn't mind to mislead the whole country, to mislead the whole council, to mislead the whole region on facts that are within his own knowledge, facts that are within his own custody. That is the CEO, that is the person who wants to show off that he is the chief executive officer of BAC. That is sad. For a region of the biggest region in this country, biggest region with so many people who depend on the service of this council, but you have such a clown, a buffoon leading it and pilfering all of his wealth, all of its money. You know, we get told about the affluent and the superficial lifestyle this man had lived. When you hear some of the stories, it's just incredible. You know, his compound in in Jalambang, it's all tiled outside with security, a whole lot of things. Doesn't want anyone to see what goes inside. It's all simply because all of that wealth came from BAC. When I came into the office, they sent a voucher. They call it, they use a software called IFMIST. And they said for the use of that IFMIST, they are entitled to allowances. That allowance, when they made the claim, Jonga is supposed to get 13,500 every month. I looked at that one, I said to them, they never came back for that one still, because it's still on my desk. Because after I said to them, I said, how can you justify this? You are using a software and you want to be paid for using that software. That document is also here. Only few of them. And only few of them were claiming that much money. And it's never resoluted. And they've been, in fact, it's here. That is the document. It was meant to be signed by me for $61,000 every month. They're supposed to be getting it. So the document is here. It's a payment voucher. And that payment voucher, I will read what they said, what the claim was based on. It says, I hereby wish to claim for the payment of IFMIS allowance for the month of June for the following staff of BAC. Modu Jonga, CEO, 13,500. Alaji Jeng, DFS, Director of Finance, 12,500. Suleiman Bari, Internal Auditor, 5,000. Omar Sedikan, Jeng's in-law. Brahma Sawane, Admin Director, 5,000. Bagar Sedi, IT Officer, 5,000. Aissatou Sise, the wife of Umar Sedikan, 5,000. I count on your usual cooperation and approval. I said no. I said no. You cannot count on my usual cooperation and approval on that. But they've been paying this just to themselves from January, from God knows when. They've been paying to themselves.
Do you want to get more value for your dollars? And if the fees you pay for your transfer also matter to you?
Then ABS Money Transfer is your approved way to send money, Nduga, cash power or mobile credit to family and loved ones in the Gambia.
Sending money with APS is like sending SMS. Our service is fast, reliable, safe and convenient. We have all our services under one roof at APS. We give you competitive rate, low fee and more payout locations nationwide than competition. We provide instant cash pickup, home cash delivery, or better still, deposit money direct into your personal bank account in the Gambia and be in charge of who sees what sits in your personal bank account.
Our APS cash service provides you with great peace of mind whilst you are on holidays in the Gambia. Should you run out of cash, you can use our POS for unlimited cash withdrawal with your European bank card. Just call us on 399-5264 for this service.
Our unique and innovative Nduga service provides and delivers delivers high-quality essential goods locally sold in the Gambia. You can buy food items such as cooking oil, rice, sugar, and other essential goods.
You can also buy building materials to build your big and magnificent houses on time with our nationwide Nuga coverage service. No more going to the market. With APS Nuga, we let you concentrate on other important tasks while we take care of your Nuga shopping.
You can send money from anywhere in the world to the Gambia with APS using your bank card, and our services are available 24/7 online. Our Senegal and other African customers can use our Worry service.
Download our APS Money app today from Google Play Store or App Store.
Call us today on our UK office number +44 121 64 33003 or on WhatsApp +44 790 402 8180 or on our Gambia office number 399 5264 or on WhatsApp on 399 5264.
Better still, visit us online at www.apsinternational.com.
APS is a service approved by you.
Assalamu alaikum badin jibe lalu anin badin lamay lalu moben jibe kan dawda anin ibel lamay kan dawda ngalu tentu ngalu kontal tolnal konton analu jamunda senu kalu bismillah kachato ninyin tembo sida men kanale alla lamor kunda bato men kata home digital fmd anin alla jibire kunda bato men kata Mengbe Kering television on be men kala don bi mbodo programme do kono don bentenden na programme do kono ba be kala kilewonti be Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala danna alama ala endema senyin katanyin sa damuta bismillahir rahmanir rahim ka kum fanin alhamdulillahi rabbil alamin borom jazi
abaraka bake fadera ka lamur laning juberlal be kontrong ke bismillah bi kachato minube Jibril Touré ñul dolbe Moses Bajo be Mengbe Kering basically abe central around this press conference you know, so nga minke wolem ko allié di fil soto mi alon ko wole keta bi at the Brikama Area Council da men chairman yankuba dabo na la council lié meeting soto press conference ka dunia fanan kala mutandi kolla mi alon ko wolebe Kering woto ngal bismillah trong altaram fe bawom nyimbe kitani angale kamol la inshallah somari bawo yanko ay nyambaso do kele ni mandiya kamola so mbe wo fanan natlalele minuye manika kam faham wol fanan sa moy kumala suti akamma chairman yankuba dabo e mimfo nimboda woto drong inshallah ko nga lahidi nyaming gadum bi fadera nyim banko be temmeto mialon ko jakalobe wararen na funding kilu fintita mo malo be kondijumalto baden Ibrahima Drame mialon ko ateka mamman nyinta mala ko la surtout gambe dingol menu fintita inshallah mba kumandila ay tandi mo lambe temo minto bi kulbe tembe jumalto anu nata kibarol fanan soto fadera mialon ko abuta nan sate doto jang mialon ko ye listo dada mian ko funding kil mian ko le fintita ila sate kono so inshallah altaram fi doron mbe wolnatlale kacha kono bi fade
même follow kala don nin chairman yankuba dabo sita ay nyamba siro men kene manni ka kawna fannala
wokono ako nga funding ke ol tajande ngeta do ko la min yalon ko e nem mol kata marché auto ka mexo collectol mino ka namo kanin e ka sunyaro men ke kana o sunyaro ga kontol yol tale barkatri ngol molta nge joko do mi yalon ka mam budget woni lo amanta bari nada mi yita di wala nyindi ko maybe ata fa mala budget o jibe because ata la budget o min bije wala nyindi ko ate ko do min hapo min lande ko wala nyanda o sifa jolo ko do dal wo wili keme fula anda ate dum dol kontol ngol jo wili keme wili tannani ane sey la so ne o korosi wo ko do ñu hapo de ma hapo ñu ba so dum mal luatinya fata mi luatinya bay ate ko atata dala don torol ke odum mandara dala budget do amurun da kodo mi ata puka tunnolu tema tunnol min yalon ko mining ka ke wolde ka kenya bioning bere bio ke wolle la blado fo tinyaro ka ke jela environment to wol nyanta kodo be shot lab kabuna mansaya pour que compensate ke josey atena la mola te ka te o kodo leta ay Brikama la silol do ko bala silol min do ko Brikama wo at silol do wato min ani wo kuruna da wado mina walla fa fadata so wonni dugo ay kumo men fo to nyata koma kuma le mi alon kuma kensango ay ku jamalu sata min yalon ko kansul nada biyi ko kumo le be faniyandi andu wo kumo nyimman to nyata ako kabiren kansul nada ye famala alawan sul falin ye la fan kafu kodol to inyanda they approved by ministry asita ay wol bal a niidiya kan komin ate jonga ate le matta council la komin gamin fo ate fe council mate fayalati amanda nga fayalati a ketala annunsa keta teltata diata nyam ata murata subo ata kuntu dano a diata dawda ka kuntu wolto wotti nyaarolu min dekata west coast jongale ya dekita withdrawal min dada kanyen atambita million tallulla jonga wala bondi bank council la bank hani simling ama fono o ko do danyami bari ay nim fo journalist wala ngintu ka fo million seydor netata no million seo ate salary lego anin fendo bari yalo ni malla man tuba ka mo because ko ay salary ay o ko do minta o withdrawal min gede man justify ate ka 8 million min data o justify so woni wo bol kam involve fadata bari ñun lem pulti min yalon ko jonga ya kejan andum ja oil fana atata la loan taje wolon nyin kabrata amang council anin west coast ko le mol minu kinan jang because luwa ka tama nyame ali mol minu elect council on den chairman wala le minu kinan jang minu be siringal to ya la janda wolle se approval o keno alla ko do feye do bonde because ko do dundanin council alla ko do le mo ma nyana ka ko do spend amari malla fenko soto je alla la fenna ko soto je wara alla songo soto la je bar jonga ka minke aka kudo pesir pasar la de ata nyami west coast la molu minu nada jam minu ba siri ya jam woldu ka fen kalam amun ta sirfo songo min men jam yalla on kudo judo sama dolde abije wati je wo ko be katama jonga keta alla ciamano ta keta alla siwoti mingo min diata ya akawle ke wo training a wala continent fayatina west coast fota fa tambida imira septic tankol nka minuta na minu luas wodi ma ko sama kono ye marseau la jio nin jio na marseau de kam ma ko je nin ye jio ta silol ke kam ma ko jio saba jonga ko wodro ne aden ne ko yadde bayri wo kedale wo manta atela approval kanda ate kam min fo contract committee mol min bodo woli wo approve le barate ko wo man ka atela approval de mun ya no wo be kala bar sangu mu me be ate ko ko do nyin ako do min nyanta jola wolto wo be tara kanyam dala si million killing dala wili mo ani worawula bar jonga janni sango fon kab dati kansulol min benen jang ye million woro million lulu yole di jonga la pour accepter tanko san aman sonna sanna wo ko do nyim min nyanta dala ko accepter tanko ta ay ko do ta adom say million killing min nyanta jola pour wo accepter tanko de makoro min ke marché o kono ako say wole ata balo jandi wala nan kay ko ndul kontanda wala bagay ayete balo jandi baran dolla mole tineri mo soto ila council ko do because ko do ko ka dunya siata do yada e duka fenne bar ñinan yen muna fango do man nen so do min dada kan yete ko million killing wo mo alhamdulillah balde bar nin ala sonda sangol min kana min ga jonga bonni je wo million killing o ñinyanta siala bakele bayre next year hamo mo mende ayanda ka nyanda million keme million mo ñong wo ñanta dunnale kana west coast kana demaro ke donc nin ala sonda wo binala so wala mo ko ñing tanna fulo de ngamiram ngamemo men to koma
wala mo chairman yankuba daboti baldaran to le amoy
absolutely fadera akumata bake yalong tundo mol west coast region wolle karre fay ate chairman yankuba dabo na la councilol pour ye mara west coast region la kolla mansa kunda e jonga appoint yake CEOT ngaje lokuntambila bikama ire council ning resolution fentita iko iman lafi jonga la pro ay tara council to ay tara du ko la woto wokera kuti mian ko ngalong akuyata jonga e fo atefana yiri action ke newspaper to mi mo standard newspaper di ay tumirol min landi atenying council nyinka wolon chairman dakon ala multi fadera kulo mi alon ko ni hajjube akamuta ko kelombe ba kering do ba fula West Coast region do ba fula te ninga understand katung jonga e nyun kumol mimbe fo ala interview to an standard newspaper dulati je mialon ko ako West Coast region kolbe bata kan oybe mantora kan o kom chairman dabo anata ka West Coast region kol tora kela na fululta ka tinya mamwo je dulato nga minu je wolem ko de chairman dabo natale kol katano nyameng ate kol faling kul mialon ko hinda katam min tela official kono nga endorse wolbukake in fact muneka ke wolem ko inatale yela jol kafo bari chairman je senandi ko nyin jo kafo ate o tarajele
ate jongani
sirifole ko fo ay letterul bondi mi anko jongale wol safe ka samba ka ki ministry ay letter follow num february leti do fanan nata do fanan safe ki haklo blandi ko ngamin safe num ale february karo kono ko jole kafo bari fade black clean ning njakalite wolem ko interview to jonganing standard la interview ay mim fo kodoto councilol ka jominna anin ay mim anin letter o mialon ka wala ki ministry ifatata batch bawa ko 6500 wili woro kemelulu ya saundi ka samba fo wili tangnin lulu akoy ka councilol jo wala anu chairman dabole woke but then letter o to mialon ko ay wala ki ministry ay min ki ja ko councilol ka jo wili tangnin sabalen so sai mose fanyinin ka councilor min benunje ngalo wol fana nyanta jan senandila ika jelle soto nun joto wobe kala ko
min ayatre asa keno fana ika wiltan ni sabaka kaydo bare ka wil woro di like wil woro kemelu
wanan ko councilor min benunje
yes
wol se je senandi no
yalo one team fo be jam badrante nga me realize jam councilor min benunje Brikama area council it seems like jama be je ibe do ko ke kan loi men ko mo fonlon ndela korosiro because atol council de kambenna for instance alcohol allowance increase al fonwe al kambental aliya samba ministry wala approve jumala mu CEO ka balangola nin ayatara atol kutal na tema abukal duko jenkotal na tema woto almal la loi albolo lo loi me yalan ko wala la bula do ko lo dulado ndenga council le blame men benu jang ye nyulen men replace menu noto se ngawle blame ning ayatara atul lex kamenda council alko tonya jenko kele folo mendi wala nyindi ko momen kamara jenko fengona amari e fensoro me alon ko hana ma kono fano alaftara nyame bara sa wasano do mandi wala mu jenko kele folo sa ning atul tara ko Brikama area council jenko le mu jenko problem bad wara pour ko jenko nyin katala sa en kamenda nyinala wala nyindi ko sa imbe jolu la falale nal kamenda KMC yakele jol lafa dinkira ko don yakele
no manza kunda fango
hani manza kunda fango
makele fo la jol man lafa
president fong
exactly
sa ni tara fa alkamende jol lafara wo jol lafara mune ba ken la CEO da mabel balanna ako jol do ani na jol ji fananna ikadamen yalon ko birol kaka wolleto kodo na da pour kodo di wolle do ko liyeke iko political be kering campaign be kering fo ni sitin president be president yala mansa kunda budget o tada ben election iya kon fo budget o do ko ka stop
no but the thing is from
so this is very simple
Brikama area council la doko warning political news to monella
intenga council le blame
so nying ni ajube mbe sonnala wite mimfo wolem ko tonya bo ni ajube fanam fadera na last council benunje tonya be damen monde biye differences be sienung idamal tema dolbe sirifo sonko camp min mandara
dolbe UDP
min mandara sirifo sonko camp wol mandara enjoy kan so a whole lot of things be kerenung council kono but then ninada to this level because mimu diamtati wolem ko nyenyin councilol jube minube be camera council ibe mambo party killing boda kamuta ko ibebe kan killing ole fokan
wolem ko sirinje
ibele beje so wolem ko West Coast region itol ka woleje so ka West Coast region je wo kumata bakela do kotole because muneka ke kunu ngawle fanu njang député la koto député people in elected offices ikaka party ko noma ya noma foye nyina mola minianko wolle cartel dila so ngabra ko is high time that this nyin ko ka finti isaje ko ay senia muluma but then min kumata je wolem ko nyin party flow be fintitale because near press conference jube comme yankuba kaminke wolem ko jonga min fo kaydoto akole follow karang ayna ay jabiro laka
ay sede o finde
ha so ngamira ko sang West Coast region call this is clear enough mbe asenata mbe male kode nyindeba Kering na tundoto sang ndoletam na tundote you know nyin kuflol fintita jonga be kol sabaka fankan ko atelebe tonyaka chairman dabo ko atelebe tonyaka bari sang ibe doko ke kam minimum West Coast region kolki sang the ball is in our court nga jube mimu tonyati ani manke tonyati
même fon be je ntenga mira nintelem nim meni be doko nim meni ka doko ke wol ko man la finna ini nga doko ke doko ni de sonalo lambul kotenke nindele mum basilo tala ngata meni yenta doko nga fa adula do jibe alente samba woto bayo aliendi meni la premier doko ke man la finni doko ke jonga nyanda kukil na understand na hanin ay muneke mini jarere ibe mun la sila baraka hana muneke as far as council ko man pare na doko ke ala taro jang it will be useless because munamo ni ye modu mara ikwete dankulela ye ko be bondi bulu council jibe menke han signature ya ta bondi wol betol say atamina talla nyundla ni amon song council ye men fo men ya ta do ko la man song ya bondi je ala taro jang na fatina talla annu munamina kala nin ayatara ay tonya ay birkama ay West Coast leje ay birkama leje abe nyim palaso nyina babula because munabe kala nin atena taraje do ko nyol nyanda keletina kenula nyo sabole bina talla anin council tema so woto ngame local service commission aliya lonne Mengbe Kering birkama area council almanya na wato tala alnyanda kato be kelale men nyanda kala wala jonga e boje baye ko man la fina do anu kukulimbe je wala safety tank ko janimita
yaron safety tank ko farera
yes
ming understand to nyabe dami ko min tata ning silola silo atata silola among West Coast region call nafa anin ko min manta silola ay West Coast region call nafa mbe jumale choose la
mais nafa do
because ni ajube initially na marse kono ka kenu nyame but ni septic tankol nata ni sama nata yeta marse kono jio saba several times nke jele mbe wo falam fona ay complain of fanandi with the Senaya project mbijanne sanji jama nda mbalitul kataran na suulu kono mbukalo mbe kele nyame Senaya project nata ay woso na ndinye ikata ntara fonna suulu kono ndalta minanga private company jo you know at a higher price but nilu nata ya sonandi mole kana mol tara fola suko yala mbalitul ta ni o nin silo manta but for West Coast region kol mantara na fasu kanje ndamra ko kotata natana munem kansul la ludulati wolem ko mol kela namol minjo ay muruni kan in form of development so right now sadaka wosoto
man I did not concur with Jonga on that.
No, this is what I'm saying.
The reason is wala nyindiko as an administrator ika emergency measure sotole ika emergency operational sotole ning atara fo hatajo keta hani man sakunda ba ika hataji do ko kele
absolutely
obuka bayino say ning atara jiole be ke kan samale be ke kan mol buke munafa mano mol buke munafa no marsol ibe hataji ko le kela wo hataji ko men ni te safaro ko muntu wala ba approve la bar jiol be mol batande kan men yalon ko wolle mi de kilano do wolle te sinde wodulado andu wolle kejo wolle ka namo jila wolle ka namo men dila ike muna fa wolla muntu mala ngol letaro bita fole approve ni nata nyindo fana na kanyin Senaya men fonko muntu mala mu project ko iba samala nyindula fole printing ke pare ning also internal printing ke no men ko la da wala nyindi ko financial leakage ni ayata leakage teje
ay audit
ni leakage teje audit department auditing ke yaje ko fembuga suñaje West Coast ko lu content operation nyinna wala ma bede ida jonga ito sonda ida oda department ol sonda imansong ban ning ayatara West Coast ko lo ayolu kono fa ndengamira anyanda management kono fa la menbe Brikama area council andung ika 600 wala 6 million men fo ko men di jongala pour ka safety tanko sa ngamira kodo nyanda Sénégal de safety tanko na man sang akodo tara min dole it need to be clear because West Coast ko la kodo lamu 6 million se bohol jama sinole 6 million asebere wulen trip jamala bonno dinkolo kan dinkolo silolu kan wono 6 million jonga nyanda o senandi lale naman tanko sang aya kodo samba min dole ngamira wonyande kala kuldi me alon ko anyanda jibe la bakale borom jazi janne sawunna
yalong fanado fana bije fadera wo nga disappointment suto wala bake mimbe dending jonga la kola bawo jonga sontale ko geology ye kodo diala ye jole pour nyenda kamindi tundol la in form of royalty wolom ko ika kenyol ni berol bidulal minto because ngane ko aka tinyaro leke so obviously kaboda mfana wol fana nyanda na fasod la nyintole but you know I mean for aka yo kodo tale bari atale ka sila mejo sila nani da Brikama kono
silo mem mamban
but no min fam point fadera
and wol fan nakko me la kodo banjola
min fam point wolem ko Brikama ere council kabribe nying silol la kul haymala ya budget le wo budget oto geology la kodo datije because wo kodo manke pour Brikama ere council aketala ko drongolem ko aketala ko fo asetamminung atolla janni abifala wolla so mo se nyinin karoke wo silol dara kodo minna bawo ko ye geology la kodo leta pour ko silol dada mi kodo mi ndakata tundolto mim budget dum from the council wo kodo le yajele ya walatina wato dolu ko min fore bolem ko ibe do ko la molie ini molbe do ko la itara to a point ye kujama je itama nyato ami nyafa ikoy ko mi ye do ko ditela ye wo safe ko man la fi ni do ko ke you know ngamira ko natara ko tonya ite ye la ye fan horoma killing you know ye tundo mol horoma ibe minu saf kan honorably inyanta sonna wo kumolale ibede sound la dawda si soundi woto baren soundiro fanam fadera wo fanam bi easy la bakele because mune keta wolem ko do nangamu mim foto at different angles askiata back so ndenga merako ate abe easy la bakele pour ka fodronge nyin soundi ay bojan nate dogo kelano lu minu dunta bulla wala dunta lalto mimman senea wala folo nyanta senea la first janni jonga be bola jang ngamira ko mimbe kera walem ko jonga is strip off all responsibilities la
ya kisi
whatever comes out of the investigation be salonko nyine be kering but then the point minti walem ko West Coast region natan la fatonya falo nyoy ika fole always na kachal kono iko West Coast region we've been suffering for so long,
far too long
meta batarine andu nyindem tonyati presently kodolu ka finti ko yara fang tundolu nyanta ka nyille sodo kansulolu bulu aka ke kibarol di pour West Coast region ko aka ke kibarol di pour West Coast region ko West Coast region sate jamal malon ko yara fa tul nyanda ke munafa nyinne it was not happening but muneka ke wolem ko yena a few individuals soto more than soto mialon ko wolbela ibela life upgrade kan ibe balu kendol soto la baye minu saf kan wala balube kolya kan on the daily basis amanke kuti imam worry about it wom kuti mialon ko abala fa warta anikuya fananka wara bake but finally sabim fono wolem ko the chairman Yankuba Dabo anala councilor abedatal de ye press conference ke ka kudul senende bon des ndemi min fola wolem ko nyim back and forth wa fawati juma because mimu point wolem ko jonga be min ke kan desperation lebe caring
he has no option
exactly desperation lebe caring so abe all angles use lale pour ka to distract from albe min kekan so ngamira ko at this point bawo albe dogo ke West Coast region kolle wolbe impact de kanne the former council min bije wole sanjilulu plus kele ye wo min keje ye min keje ñindon la ñing less than sanji killing ye minke wodol la sanjilulu i make is evident mbaje kanne clearly so ngamira ko ñin sa min bije ye concentrate do ko kan because time nan katalde sanji nani mansia as a council under Dabo, ye program jama soto, ye hame jama soto, ye mira jama soto. But kasi ka 3, 4, 5 hours ke, mi alonko all on press conference against one person, mi alonko tonya bimbe tembo minto, West Coast region a clear nale, ko jonga mantara nunjang, puru West Coast region ne. Bara ba fanne jang ala life upgrade le abita a fan karandi ala dimayal we all know ko ibe in a good life
together with the finance
exactly
finance director
so bi betembo minto bi fadera wolem ko ntese chairman yankuba Dabo mse advice no mina wolem ko ye concentrate do ko kan sani ye jonga bondi la programs kono ya bondu daro mial ko fa even abe any impact laje because it's evident ko so long in jonga be nyobulu they are not going because back and forth long ye press conference ke bi don't be surprised jonga interview do ko denke because ndol mu kiwata bini jonga ko mandro ko bidalde you understand so for na do foko denke ibina ko denke wo fana njabi when are we going to move on?
No, definitely. What is important now? Wala nyindi ko ye Dabo jonga la for already. Atoli ala stand tale aliya meita ne wala nyindi ko jonga alnata do ko kenon. Aliya bonde. Sa ning al momi alon aliya bonde fa aliya bonde ala signatory beto. Alla bank account hold. Oh, wo is no more relevant now.
Aliya sembo talal. So obviously.
Kukilim fana mbeje. Ila press conference ko ne yatande ko jonga nyol be dole bunja ondelo jeng real estate lo bobu manduar chairman will be claim ne ko so wol dol mo kule melan ko they are very serious and then wol nyanda investigate lale nyin nyanda kala police wol fana do kulati and in central government ñulu ye banko la kodo ye tumi wala la ye mo melan ko ya entrust banko la kodo la pra mara ni woka wo ku sifal ka ko dinkra sifal sotno jeng ay ol sotno nyaadide wo story bidino lotano nyaadide wol nyanda investigate wona tala jo ni wona tala jo ni yibe be laari nyaadile ngamira o nyanda jibe lale badra kamdanga ibrahim
baraka bake fadara kombe nga lahido le di molla kode nying ni wati nunko Mengbe Kering nyi banko kambe nga lonne wolem ko na funding kel be jama filter nzafuno wala nyama
kare kenya mallo
kadon jama de wol foti ni wala nga wol londe but jama bi je mialon ko bi hani bi ila badingul malon be damen ndel malo ila kulbe tembe jumaldo but as usual Ibrahima Drame mialon ko gambe de ngol be siri Malta ate mu activist leti wolonga kam mamang nying tamala la nyantol la sursu minalon ko ikabo Gambia mba sutolo line auto Ibrahima Fambe line auto le nase kacha bawo kunung na kachata ayeng update le as to ala investigations danta mintole atela atandina ay kulungon nangamo fonyele minalon ko ifintida jang bari hanibi kulungol nyimman jeno momalo be tembe jumal to bari bi fanan nase continue kachala inshallah janne nyinkol be sumyala be nyin sire lay se le ne Ibrahima be tarla kachala assalamu alaikum Ibrahim okay Ibrahima akeda nyaadi
be jande ko be jan ko be laare nyame ngani sa be ta ko nyale be duri be dundi joko no baki ko benda ka ko la ka treno ka ki waro bondi bolle nga so no nyame
okay kunung nga kunung kachado kejang yatandi mola ko kulungol dol wulta ka bo Gambia yudlal fo min kam da ko carton min kam da ko esew min kam da ko dula jamaye wole fo but then bi mbetem momento bi mun latest ki warole be Ibrahima Bulu
yes mo to nyati nga kala mo non ko no nga fo nga kulung kono to le ben wulta no Gambia me yalon ko be jiyo kono le man kala londo kulon yilla but alhamdulillah ni wuraro do den data ki waro do soto ba ko mambe kulung kilimbe je me yalon ko nga ki baro soto kulon na me yalon ko kulon nyimbota la menle wulta la men karo fili saba ni November karo nyin mo kemele be je mo woro ani musu say ani ding kilin ne be kulon nyin kono
ibota mit kombo la men
bolla men kulon ni wulta woto yes
lunjuma la wulta woto
in kulon ni like kulinde ni wakam way mo green juma tambidalen sa fono programme ni start kulumba ni be jo kono le green juma long so etel kamol demanding tale green jumo kana fu juma long wala keta on the first fu on the third so nga kala muda on the third shootole kulumba ni ama departeta yo bar nga kala muda kulumba ni ala wulo fon keta like lamenni bandulo reality because kulum nga information ni sura clear tam ma kulumba na kala fata mbe bandu fona kata so fon inja ari ba kele fu marinol gambe marinol ko ta do kula fu me ke karno ko kay ngala kas kulum la tema masikun le sore ka kulum di men na malo no yo bar nga kala muda kulum ko ta jele men dara mo keme mo woro la ba kono musu sai ani di kilim ni dimas dum suko senegal ne vil na ta kulum ni mutale so biri amure na ta kulum ni samba senegal dakar biri samba dakar beje basan de nga kala muda modol beje wala buruta na so kono dol beje wala manna no because kodo mantar dol pulo kono ko safero fanka mambe ba kambe gambe embassy mande kam because ngaldo ko shari kam pakala senegal ni wato pro moment beje dum ko no muru no la nyama yo nara akala muda bitam fana e kunum fana disem français la nebil fana ko français le fana nebil sur le men be joko na sante men yalon ko be katola ba pour kani sumo bul kulon tente stop yo nara kulundo fana muda kulon ni comme ko ning alam pone nara mandro ko because tel ka signal ol satole channel o men yalon ko hanni be jam kala communication ol teng tel ka scan no le kala communication o tanol so nara ina lo soro no le ka ko kulundo le be jio ko me ko kulungo nyin captain no le kulungo nyin abandon je malum ba ko la manen ka munya
ha atele kulungo nyin tuje atata
kulungo nyin sambala ni gal tata kama kulundi wona tata na tala te jolon captain no fone jolon jio ko frenga te kulungo ni mol le ko so nata ki problem moti je baake so senegalais la ni mari français la ni marinol nata je so biro nata wol nata kulungo nyin rescue kulungo nata senegalais la ne villa no bela ne vil men yalla ko wolle be je ka fe le toa so inata kulungo nyin nata fundi ke way o disem kulung fana kulundo fana nata fundi je nga kala muta gambenol ko kulung fana kono o kulung fana kulung fanka so fana sembo be warle mbake jio be je ma ko sharing mo inata senegalais la ne vil nyin fana nata kata bake mo woro kanandi wol kono kulundo fana be je kulundam man kulu woro senegalais yole tase kulundo labo mi la banda men dala kulum mo tansa ni woro wala yole kanandi no kulum kono kulum boy tale woro kulum ni ngira boy ta mo fula tam man na ta faaje nga kala butan do nga men so no senegal le ne bi senegal le ne bi mo tansa ban tansa ni woro wala yole kanandi le ten at this moment nga men kala mata ka kulum ni bi do bari nga kala mata ka bo birin kulum ko kana fukunu kana bila kulum man futa Spain me alon ka bota Senegal anin Gambia do bi somanda kulum fula futa dal me alon ko kulum fulo ni be tel be bora musani le be ka futa me no adigu nga ta bota kulum fula futa bar Senegal ni Gambia birim kulum go kana bi kan kulum man futa folo Gambia kulum men yalon ke misrin sainte nga kala muta kilindo funta musani kilindo funta la menten so sainte sa fono man kulum men ke yalon Gambia kulum to sainte mo kulum wor wala at this moment ben wa ko ben
okay kulum kononto fulanyin Kenya londa kilingo findita Mauritanie do findita
Maroc do findita Senegal le do intercept
okay bari ñun kulungol be kono ila kiskisuda atande ko Gambia dingol bi jele
nin kulungol be mu Gambia kulungol le be mu Gambia dingol le ikeno ke mamulon sa ko 99% no be mu Gambia dingol le ko jama be capitainol ñini wala ka Senegal le batri ko tabe wala ke kulung ko kulundol faram be jele nga kala mo dol be jele wala burana Casamance le ka funding ko kulung fula ko kulung sababe jele minan pe ka bu Casamance le kana Gambia ka mol tay kata ko fana don jere bar ni kulung sa ko kulung ni 99% no be dia all Gambians kamen kala mo ko
okay Ibrahim ñing kulungol kunun kononto bi worowla bari ila haymaroto ñing kulungol tili jelu yo wole ke bakono momi kalangol bulandi
kulundol be jela bala fawarta butum be ala dani kan ko sikki wa dimal moy la ko because jio kono tamange ko banda be jio kam ndal ko sahara be namin dron e beta dame mukale be bo kadame bukalo so because hanin kulum me yalon ko afundita Senegal le gambe kulum me intercept nga kala muta wolle fa ngani masin nan le soto so masin on ngaji le sai ajan ko men ka bu gambe jay ka masin jamala digam wolle pro kana emergency soto no yo bari ani wo ngaji le masin play problem soto so jama problem mo menti like ni beta kan ten ila sans problem mo ka masin multi engine le ka problem mo soto wala ka compasso ani so fa so because pro ngani men ka bu gambia wala ka compasso lo use so e ka mo joji le kumo sabol be ka ta compasso le use ka compasso ka ta dol be ko pa par compasso kile nino na ni shiro don na problem mo so de so because compasso ni ngole ke dare meta kam bin dol so faso ni ateka kilometer ni itan dila because near set e ka itan dila maybe okay el hero ni banjul tema maybe 5745 kilometers la so ni be bore ka wat ma daga akatra minus ke so ni member ka minus the 1 kilo so le ka itan dila okay sai nani kilo nangam karre bolo okay sai ni wadi karre den ini tema pro ngapra spend so jama bi je wolle ka problem o sute bulu no le problem o sute don compasso wala so faso wala ingino problem o sute dro wolle ka masibo wulu because hanna tari you sanso be betar ko ko betar ni compasso na do ya nyawnya na te problem o sute to ita ka tari bore kay kunne fe so wala beta kanda so wolle ka ni jama ke na kala mo to kulum dol be ci ko tay putli mo ni mbulu kulum dol be jele kan sa mi ango last ni amanke ni no ko ba ko mbada men ko september karo tili woro ko mo be jele men ko te ni sign an sa ko mo fana man dum no na akal mo dafa baru ko de ase ko mi anon ka ko ko baru ko malon ko baru ndam ko baru ko fon bari nga kisiro ka ko la back so
ko baru ko la men ma fon
to fana nga spero ke ka blaje
okay mbe network kolia ko soto kan ba fadera nga okay Ibrahim akam do ganada Ibrahim nga network problem so bara kam do koy muntana e ko kulungo do ko abota kubare ko
yes nga kibaro soto kulungo do be jele min bota kubare ko ndam kubare ko lo mala be dame
kubare ko fe afele lamen koma makumbaya mafa
okay nga kibaro soto je kulungo bota je kulungo fanan kulungo nyala bulo meta bake still na mbo fanan research kam back ani katon kulungo me yalon ka wulta je on the 14 o kulungo mu fenne de mialan ko telle meta nga kulungo fanan kala muta o kulungo ta kafuntinne bare gambianu le siata kulungo nyin kono because kafun kulungo nyin bota kafuntinne kana gambia ka boltaje na kala muta gambianu fanan mo kebe nyin fen go kulungo fanan kono kulungo fanan na wulo ni sainte man sa kono abe kilimu nin kilimbi ko
okay Ibrahima kunun ya foko kulungo do je mialon ko jambur ngol siata je itel yalon kulun jumalon fo min boda nan kafuntin lom bam fo min boda katon
yes kulungo nyin boda nan Senegal
okay
kafuntin yes na information am shoto because boda nan kafuntin ne ay molta boda na da katon pana molta camera
okay
katon como con WhatsApp grupo nuestro na migrant situation oni kuno ngamera mo rol beje wole restore bondi nanne comme ko like e badi on ben beje la fakalo mo juma beje tukal o mo nanga mo karle be jang so listo wole ben na grupo ko be ngal listo ni wole par comme ko mo ni be kulun le kono at this moment mela ke nyale lo so fu kulun be nyawanya ning at this moment malon do pare akal mo jama bala beje because kulum fana nada dum mol bulu ñokono katom fana anoda on the 19 fana kulum fula wulta je kulum fula fana bi amo sia bat because sign tem fana nga listo bondi sign tem yang ko mo tan saba mo taworo nin saba sign tem nga listo nyim bondi nga sen pejo kan kaitan di because ni maroko nga confidence ni tema so manda fana ni kansulo le ñomay so sign tem bela l'espace le to kan problem ru nan mo taworo ni nan le kulum ko bar mo kilum fate ko so mo tan saba ni mo taworo ni saba le be mo taworo ni saba ngolla listo fam bondi le sign tem kaitan di katon ko kulum men fundita paroko yani men muda musuto kono dindin teje barna rakala muda on the December on the 19 kulum muta katon men ko musu jama bala bo kulum kono adu dindin fana ba kono o fana ni on the 14 kulum men wulta ka boka fundin kana katon wul fana mankilia so at this moment is men fono katon dam manga kulum fula le baro so de men ko be jele be wultale but manyu so tele men ko on the 14 ani on the 19 at the moment.
Okay, Ibrahim Abaraka Bake, malo mu nebikele kibar la bonti fo soma inshallah ni be ñomo la ko tenke.
Ani kay membe je dron comme ko me back nga safero do fananke like mbadi on many do be like tunishini libya ma fon yo nga kanku danda lalo di ka ko kaytan di bisu do kabo bisu ko kata ko nin tilisa ko tilinan fanka so nyimbe ci ñaari mbake jiwo ñi mantere pete yari ani reski ci mon be je be funti kan ne do bena kam malta jande ka sembe jiwo ñi ni tilinano ko na be ci ñaari mbake ko mom agentol wol simol jotno la jake ñawni bare moment yan ko ni kan na message so be tunisi time ting wala be libere la mo be je nga be danda mi because mo ka ko moy kanata ni ko moy fa kanata dem ketam so ba ni membe je si mem fono e ka ko jiwo ñi be ci ñaari ko nga kan do spend ma fona santen jiwo le kultale ka bokku nun kana santen jiwo be ten sumayar ne woto folo bare ni immediately at this moment woto jiwo be sangar lim bakale ni tili na no ko so moment yan be tunisi le wala be safale wala be zaurale in italy o libya ebe mama ko pour ni wato be dan la ko si fonyo ni wala ko mayata ni be balwo ko si ko be sotonol because bag wedding ale mo ka fono moy kanata mo ka mo danko ni ya ko mo le fam ke danko mo ka mo be ka ko ngara pende jang min tuta jam balu te jang so I go nga fa jiyo ko official do di sign de danko ro city pampe kenen fay so daman ne meje bar ni nga update soto dron inshallah mba ko ndila jama mo le avec ko non ni la condition be nyaaw nyande
tabaraka nga tentu nga jay as usual Ibrahim Drame mi alon ko tonya be doku kendela fadera mi medending ka mul kala mutandi kulbe tembe jumalto bari fadera bala fa wata back
definitely bala fa wata back bari ntenga mira Gambia government na matmato doyata yaje Ibrahima menke kanteng ni nyande kala masa kundala do ko surtout ministre kunda mematan nim bantaran ko temo wallahi ngamira ni annaba nyama bi ministre kunda nyanta wullale ani ministre kunda memata fonnin kewla nyim banko kanyim ministre kunda fulo bi wolbe siyo siro wol nyanda tarla borla banko fana kankotol ibe fonnin kewlu sensitize no nyaadile ibe funding kewol support no la nyaadile ibe project ko dila funding kewol la nyaadile ibe grant sol dila funding kewol la nyaadile ibe nafulo dila funding kewol la nyaadile pour ye muta dula soto kayta ndela ko alsaki no nyimbanko kan janne woda malasi nyi stop no bi ye wuli ye findi molu kan alfa dol be je wolbe diwnu be wol kan nafulo di diwna ware ke diwnu dundi nyindo ni findiro alfa kan ini kacata kolea ko dolla isafo mo wolonje bare atol be siring alte fem fola mole alla banku di na molu wulta e benin alhalo kono nin kibar do kulal man chance di nyulla ye na ye nyim fo gamen kole molu talo ne la badi hunde be alhala jumala to man sakunda be siri be tankunde ye molu men mara molu men ye dani iko alal kawdi nangal mara ye kawo di la pour ye mara wolbe nyin alhalo kono ite nyanta men kele mantara kekan wallahi nim manke kun kata nyamen nga fonu janne na programme don ko nin alamande ma mbare musolu anin nan ndin musolu ibebe labanna bantalan ko lebe labanne be futula jande anu nin alamande ma na institutionolu na dulal be bina labanna bantalan ko lele bulu kadu muneketa nin tolu mam fam parende mam pare nga siladim fanna nga doko ka nyim banko kan nga nyim banko fonnin kelu landi fanna nga tandira ko allalu fanna alilla ko alsa keno jande nga di fendila ise men keno jang amanya na kala dala diamodo ko almanya na tala alsa keno jang hani ibe fenne di la mari le kay ko nyimuta wate war ni kam moso nyola abe tule danalde bare be mo nekala ika jalo le diala ye nyemuta nyaita ndala ko ngata bato ban jalo fele nka nyaw me muta nke soala nin jalo me yaje nka fay tenne nka fay dula kan dula kalle pour nga nyaw soto ifana se nyaw soto no sama ifana eta di dola ibe nyine kala mansa kunda nyanda prele wala la bakar baji mamira do kube bulu bi ministre bakar baji mamira do kube bulu bi men kuma da kata min fondin ke wala al halola e situation no men kono
frere nga lunda soto line auto nso foranta nga foranta contribution o lawo assalamu alaikum
Aliou
naam
ala baraka bake programme o diata bake
alhamdulillah
insafo kabo the first episode la min kada chairman ke anala mono councilolo ye kuma kawon min fo
baring ni nata yaji be jonga council le folo fintita jonga kebaro ya fomoli den jonga fanan nata finti atata standard newspaper mira wala be kera na Mengbe Kering wofo so say amonta council ya benfo be loring anen sedi akolo jonga fana benfo o fana be loring yo bar bi council findita nanne itambita dami yalon ko ya lafaro ke ila kolo la ka sedi akolo findinde wo sedi akolo wol mu fennete men yalon ko to mando bi jenna miroto ning local government service commission en moy ibe wullale nin ko ke hataji to kuwati baring nin Mengbe Kering iko nyinul men yalon ko ngi tumi nyinna yeta sis wo kono follow walle ko malla finni do ko ke ni wo sembo to wol bolo pour ko ke baring acte ala ndinyami walla sembo be minul bolo e manya nan na fala akola bari ni nata jibe bank ni nata jibe safo regional be la namu wala ka do nyin kolu to andon ka kodo men moyi asiata bakele so nyimmu kulete me yalon ko mbe daniro kala i se ferole ke ikana politiko dundi nyin kuoto baring mbenga lo ka jenko bayi mbenga lo nga jenko fasa ka tilingo fasa wodoron non fente mi yalon ko asenyem banko sambano nyato yankuba dabo nga fo mode jannen ko molo mi yalon ko nga millo ngala ko to nga wala fo adama de ngo ka falin ne body so far so good nga min along ala ko to yo hani bi ben councilor fananna councilor men yalon ko bi itol bele united ka be kata kilindi kaje ko kanamu jolala nyanto anin nyamu jolala kaminjo ka wakantande kuba min bije aka dolon nundin daminna ibe den yo hu fimonyin ya suki andum be comment la for that bari fanan ila o fasaro kono itolo fanan fanse hakilo to ifangoto because wato me yalon ko ibe kelo ke kampuru ka tonya sabatinde wo wato le te fanan nyanta tonya sabatindela wala fengo feng ne ya tara mo be odlato ite associated with the chairman me yalon ko amansila media la chairman me yalon amansila molu la menu ya keje in the sense that amansile la wodom nyinte ko nin ko be kera ka findele aya nyati de wo molu la ko alinyininka wala lalla sola ko alla kole akulu ala senkam fango nyati de wala this is the type of chairman we want nibe wo chairman o bala if an nyanta fango katalale ye upright ye ke moti me yalon ko itilinta nyimbulu likiliko mba kalale bari momo kake ite balon nale ko itelem puri ya tuje tama area council ila motolu ninji wato sita motori nyanta jilale kato nyim motor mun nya council do kuran walati moto ni aje silo kandoron anyanta tarla council la do kola bare moto manyan na tala suto talan fula suto talan saba nka motoje jego be sire moto nyato o manyan na kadate amari aketa momoti walle iketa momoti nyabe kanede bari bi ni peki le ko ni la fita tilingol londila itele folo katile ngolondi ila moto sang ila fita ila la wata wati ila wala ila fita finti la wata wati finti wala mola hajita woto o momo ila kuma fo woto o boyte kanne bar sai ninka PACJ suto du tala nka je dulabe dula aman koyde
ani jego be siri nyaato
nda ko so nyama bare ning ndesa ninga nata ning kola yalo ning migration ko alo na fota wato wati ndeni yore kakuya the fact that ko mo jama bije ima understand wala mu fahamo man ka kola andum banko kan nin kube kere me yalon ko aka daha sambanan baraka kolya fanan sambanan al nyanta fero kera la ko daha min sambana al ko kacha bari mantoro fanan min bije al ko fanan kacha the fact that ko modu man nyim faham baki wala nyinto ko alu tonyalem mota fola no moy ko kanata ning bakwera because ni woke mod ka jela ko selfish tale walle I anyantale bari hani amanke wote ntolu la fitale mobe ila fita minne wosoto yale kata minne ne tubabu do ni wosoto Gambia jang ate jarle ta yeta tubabu do yalon one typical example o munte fangoleti
okay
ndata tubabu do le mbe tubabu do mbullo jang nata murun nanjang mbe do ko minna tubabu do nata jambe o do ko la mba goto kamba ni aje mbe sirin jang nin karo fata nka fen sotale so wala asabu nin kiskisiro le keta na national dialogue commande because bi Gambia jambi alu fente kering min hataji toyata fente kering mi yalon ko bi akumayata min tambita kadiyamu nyin kuwala hadamadin kunda kuwolu dadala kuwolu bandaŋo kuwolu londirangolu kuwolu topotorangolu omu diyamo doron nati kacha hani islamu amanna nin kelo kono la de anata nin kachale kono la alqur'ano be mu kachale ando alqur'ano do ngate kacha banne itata buku kono abe mu kachale walla nyantale ngabanko la ko jibe min ko mada be ko ngafolen ko ni nanda ya jibe Gambia ala ko mu bala falet fontolo be nyanda agrila nyinale kabirin wulula nin yeminulu wulu anin na mansakunda min be marorola kontrol te fengo soto no la jam fonin fintita fo won tele wala nyanda kala na dakoro te bam nde mi alon ko nin karo fatan kado mon din soto wende sindi jam nde nyon jamale bije min yalon ko wolle creative tantati wolle clever tantati wolle ku keno janne bari man sakunda nyanta fero kera because mo opportunity soto non ka futa ndelu benun damin ni mo opportunity soto na min expect wolom nyenti ko man sakunda pour ka opportunity yele wo funding keli e tuila bankoka dalon fonga sile nganyim ko kata wokono wojikilate ay wululaluma wojikilate ay funding keluma aliu nim musoka bula kulun kono anala sanyi lulu dindingo kulungo ikata Ibrahima le bota diamola ma benga lonne ay minfo fanka so be nyami ni na reaji be bi kabiri nyin wef nyin datita wala mo kabiri nyin wayo nyin datita bari molt meta tala bakwele bari nyin wati kuntundin kono ay influx minka mawo kenu modi bita nin nata moy hanin tolo kulun kilim damma wala fidita ba kono lokun kili lokun fula lokun saba anyanda kala man sakunda e concern net kaje ko covid-19 be no nja wato minna update sol be nyamin nyim fana update sol e tara nyamin because new either you know it or not everybody every parent is affected nde min fanka diamo nte bari ndengol be nyin kuwo konole ndoli be nyin kuwo konole bari fennon fo nsa diamo wala ya sabon be man sakunda kumanda na national dialogue kulungol be mfana ya lon ko be filiring mbenna duwa kala je fonse kulungol je bari akakole abake ndol mu kibar talalet kibaro do bi jenke soto ninga wol fo wata ne modo ka do nyola de tente molla understand balia bari mfananka understand ni fele ni la mobe ni nyon situation o kono bari min nyantan toluto wululalu ali la moyde nin ali sita alla modu fintata e fili ko e filitale lokun jalu ali meje ali finti ali man ali konta ko ke man sakunda la dulalu mini yalon ko wolle martan ni wo bankolu temala ye finti ye kuma fonye ye kato ke bari ibrahima be nyemmenna is doing on his own ndol min be nyenna amanke ko nsawolom bari akanale currently pour ngafo ando mimbe kerin doron be continue la ka wala fo ando na kuma boyla damen aliwu ama me nga moy ko ye molle muta for human trafficking human trafficking na tambita nyina kulungol ka wuli ja wo kulungol min ka wuli jan tendale be jan security man dami lo ba jenjen ne be nyin kombo kono security totala no dami bari kuwol ka dada Gambia bu banko de banko me yalonko akaturi yak lalef ko ko la te ka wuli nyantale ka graduate from that from now on ne ngamira security nyanda mingela de Gambia police force investigation or dati nim kulungol me yalonko e bota nan kafunting inata nan gunjur inata katon gunjur kana jambu dinkira to modu chika nganyinin karo ke bang jumal ebe nim kulungol koma jumal lo munyinuluki because you know every situation na kuyada nyawonya ye criminal or sole ka mi use pour ka ko nyum Gambia dingol la Gambia jang itate jindi sokon wallahi wolu mu criminal lo lati bang foy banke criminal lo
criminal on le molti
so ninga molu soto jang bo solo ka salfe jang motolo ka salfe jang mo authority ka mako Mengbe Kering Gambia dingol be fala like flies authority wato sitale pour ye diamu ñun kulungol min filita bari a easy tale mansakunda to mansakunda bari nindanga molo mansakunda kono tubando bi je information o do bi je ta wolu dilan bari mansakunda so nga foreign ministry le soto nga ambassador kunda le soto nada murunga youth ministry le soto minul beka ke funding kelleti listolu bembulu listolu min yalonko aliu you cannot believe muso min nanga mukata musolu muna nyuma nge masiboti mbe nyinko min bela nying ba ko e manque di solution solution o mo minti wala mo na fero ke nganna banko dada alin kana mbon na nyim banko to an na nyim banko dada a jarta nyeten o fenna because ne man nyim banko dada mbeta da backway wala man nyim di banko dada mbeta da ni highway la mbe nga nyim banko bula nka findi nyamin dolu ka du wala nyama nka wo kayto nyini nyami wandi dinkiral to jana dolu fanan kan to la kayto nyini wala nyama so ma be mbatandilal de wala mbe politician olu activist olu civil society organization olu wulu dialogue abol ka wala ke ni aje to abol ka dindi wol seyndina ika national dialogue lek because tubabo kala fengo be haymale mo jelle ben na yalo ne mo jelle be mo dawoda mo jelle bije based on that ika provision ke mo nyanda jelle soto la nyin sango kono so ibuke la boda yele mo be ika sile ye si nyina ya za ni dara tubabo do bi ila man sakunda be falin na doro yalo mune ke la man sakunda falin migration because momin nanga mo ka duya ke to fanan silale so ka sile national dialogue aje ko mbe nyin stop la no nyaadile nyine asabu fanan ila man sakunda al kabona je kanana njang ka kodi balu din na man sakunda alula na modu sende na because ila takela modu tankandi doboro la karola jaralo la karola karango la karola anin taradula la karola alu nyanda nyum fahamu la bari mbe kacala nyinna le kende ke wande ni ngala sonda ala baraka ba ke thank you
baraka nga tentu nga jai as usual na dunta drong as a program of samba dimension loto nga tentu nga jai fadere ngalo sai se line le sai
dulal ma kuma da ba kacala ka lara da ko fion
atele ka bondi de wallahi kacala ka bondi 6249 130938840 na force caller natale so kono ngo jibe assalamu alaikum
wa alaikum salam
ini barambari
honorable Abdullah Jamme councilor of food ward
okay
ngal konto ngal tentu baka la program
abaraka
anala churempen fode do program kumata nga kumone mo program la faka mandi jari
okay
membu ko ale min fo council la ko man jala ya fo ko mi council le bele mini balun je before yo hadi we dem new council bare ala wa sera ni council la kata bakal
mini balun je
okay because kabri na you understand ko they fight tooth and nail in a time who can you fall in the role on it because even you resolution name pasta it took a before
okay
but ni kata ka understand ko CEO Sirifo Sonko mi Mukiama non woman left and right long so CEO is like coming Kiama for the alpha and omega of the council so he is control of everything so it had a council divided so much so that it had a deal from Sirifo in Dulka Diam Jonga himself I council ceremonial even in a new electoral and appreciate more like the councillors from South plus Balamusa Dam majority of those people don't council simply because we left and right long. Even the other councillors from phone. But the main issue to probably sort of try a council for cool sending you like me I can rule the cross carpet. Only will do no mantra carry fire color. But thanks so Kiaman Yanku double and I bring another but in no council follow elect.
Okay.
But in that Mulkan the cat and Dileko, Nani carry fan to the winter. Ali Mudin and mean some Marano Latin and Ala Diamara Kiaman winter. Muka Diamo confirm West Coast in Kulan the Temple Jaila Farm Ruka Kans Kiaman or the West Coast and Mimbo on the Bulianko Dab. Issue in Bakila Kila one in the Jonga and distract and we are very much organized here. But near the being Finter Lafagelo, maybe for all this will be the first and last space conference about Jonga. Among the time waste land that can distract. That's a good advice from you guys. But migration on the Carola Mokumandin for the issue me as the migration of Mamboja, you wouldn't be surprised to see the kind of ministers we have in Gambia. Bakar Bali Bukunara now what to follow Villa Nala Hiro Danim Bira Nata. Kasara Rubin Bakeka ministry will not it shows among concerned to the funding of the Carol. The foreign affairs minister Nina to give a community level system of Lamin Queen Union. So what advice will be only a Puka Baroko jump under the guy you put back in. But the Balafa Bala began on told Honey West Coast, Kiaman in Fonfala Poko, Purmo Salang, Kiaman Kajil, broadly a book of killing. Kaji could not Tungo Mulsele, but Kasara and Puldament Kukan or Niajan Tekelano, Montentraja. Nia the hand fish market or Jilka Koji, Akuyata Jonga, Kiaman Biranata, Jonga could fish market or Mantra become era consular control, Kiaman Kaya don't care. Simply because number become a brigade and Yantu Kati. it can send you the cars and so I will take care of their responsibility. So you come to cook for Alia Baraka Baga, but West Coast tend to tell the Kajako, you can like someone double me, a month of particular among more. Just 2 days back, Labor phone, you have to a Colorado Canada and Baji. So among Fatan Council, so he's only after West Coast.
Abaraka, Honorable Bantas, Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam Aliou Fall Keba Saballe Helsinki Finland nge kontong na fadera kontong na pabodu kontong
Abaraka
Mengbe Kering la modla be kon
Abaraka
Aliou follow ay kandi Brikama area council même West Coast ay kandi mobe la ko mo killing ika fo me donga aning ika fo men na ila CEO you be mu mol le kemen yalon ko wol kini bi wala le mol be londi andon atol musolu kawo na mol menjo anatol kelu kala na mo menjo ango kari ka ke jo wuli mo nin konon to lawo na mo kono ne alon ka ni mo katara dendina kola aleni tinimbaliya men be million men be manta ni jonga kirin na kasi kaw decision ota ko do tata duma atata santo be bukalun noje mo buka kunoje afele bi tax men yanta kolekla an londa ngo atolle fengo long katam bi hani yankubala atolle alo nyunu men yalon ko be do ko na area council ila sota fengo lu men be bulu ye kor dali men soto ila sota fengo fen atolle alo katam bi morula be ko yankuba ali finti ali alla banko fata ali finti ali ta reporto di ali menlong ali ala te mali menlong ko tapale ya to bring connection o wato lembang ko sota fen kenya lembang alla ko dole nal be dentala amanche ko yankuba le kamu yankuba le jome be ko no da do ya tabak ba jonka ka men sota ali o jel min nata fanna la dame ya lonko akata nyin tamala la ko mbe dani rokela ni radio kawo ka jam fale mbe mobe danila kulu mo kulu wulita kana kulu wol men yalon ko wulita junande afele na kulu mo fojam ko den kame yalon ko ikanja mbur fodamen ko mobe de men siata mo tan nan kilomoti kulu mo kono me yalon ko jo mo sade kilo andu o kulu kono mo men be je sobo mo le kamen fo mo kemenin kallul be skarano kulu kono woni nga nyon kulu jama mbe danilo ke kan mo be ko si duadi bawo nyim ku kole mbalete andu nyim amoyo kole atabat andu nyim fenati me alon ko mbele den kala funding ken lebe nyim kulungol kono nyim momo kibar soto men sike kibar senoti na foko ye mello nyim kulungol la ko to isim ma ko ye kalam tandiro ke mbe na ke kulati kato mbe jifirin na man sakundal menna woli man tara fenke kan nyim kuoto wo ba tol men be la moy rolal be ko babu fannala ndal kibarol moy ko aliye mol le kibaro moy blalto warana liye mol alin tam kandi pour mol men yalon ko alfan le ci boni ni fitio kono ani mbata kono na damiro ke mobela wala ko ye duwalan kan kaje ko nyum fondin ke men finta nyunu kono motaje me ya dintu koma me ya musutu koma nyimbe mu fondin ke mere wolle na damiro ka liye duwa ke je po ci nyim mol je e kade niela ci nyim mol je kara kayro kono ci nyim mol je men yalon ko biten ila alfalu niyobe dewri mbake niyobe fikirin andu mobele faham ko mobele akata hada matin kunda bella ni toroti ngal dan wala alaba
abaraka nga tentu nga jay ngana sokono assalamu alaikum bari
wa alaikum salam
enimbara
alaikum
tori mari kan kuma nemi
mari sisa abu sumbala
okay hold on okay Mr. Sisa
ndayan ko batel lamba jayla
okay
ndebe busumbala janne na councilor di zona menta jonkala koto wala bentelebul
okay
jonka asalon ko era birkano era council west ko sun ko le tam il faut membre je atate
okay
yankuba membe je bi atate so west ko sun ko le beje atele di amdan tel ngana je ka foko jonka ay boje
okay
mbe mbadi west ko sun ko fanan dan la menna kabirun num din ko men beje ton dirmu din ko men beje baya ko itam be masay wo din ko be suki kan mo sa be suki kan ne suki dala fana
okay
oto alinga namol jo lan sinu jola alinga lan sinu jo mo man di be sikar wala ka balam puru o ko do nya kata da me bakalo wala ke balan wala salon say wo din ko wo suki dal salinga tiamano na la timo ma ko nga nyini jo ante wala mun na contribution
baraka ngi tentu nge jay si saw banta assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam. Fake ba no disfalla.
Fake ba ni mbara.
Allah baraka baka Allah program ko mata bake.
Alhamdulillah.
Nga paten to nga jay alama alen na beso si yawna jata kedane harje firona ale ni radio suturay no.
Alama amin.
Kadun sa han MPP ko li kas male.
Okay.
Yo so problem ali on dolla nyim banko comme mansa kunda sobe wala tambulu. Andum pay black lim fo men kata nyim baku e kotin te katu je fola la all the time dolla police ye ko be bula mansa kunda bulu because mansa kunda sobe o nate bula ka interfere police la police kela do ko ka nyinala la completely wale ke nyaka sala
okay
ali nyim baku be sai 419 no be momo left nga kodo mulka nyo kumbe ne te ta nye lebol ya ye kulun lese doron ye kodo mu da funding ke ol bul doron ye ne ko ete compasso no lete ta firi ite map understand ne wala ite se kulun bon no lete ta firi ye te je ko ne te la hajola ila pure tije ni mo ma si bolati de ni mo ma bola biya so ama mo area la na funding ke ol bebe fala bari ta kala because to ba bol ko na moliye muru ito de murnan ye kodo fanan dila e man sonna o kodo investment na dindingul ye ka compagnie li yele ka kuli ka pour dindon so ko muni atine be stop it is ko si la consent o dino le pour que stop mule atina Gambia Gambia alinga na banko amemfo nka fali no wato alin ka kallamo Mengbe Kering nan kaje ko men ko yediam lono e kamem fol benan ko alinga la ko alinga ko ni kala atani hakilola.
Okay.
Mansa kunda tambulu de mansa ko ya jele be fan sun kun kilin kwota e man bilo sika je tata ya nya moto impose de be ifele aku yoli nya ko tala kanol animi sota bono lela.
Okay.
So woto membe wala alinga si nganna banko bondi adama barobul bil ay wallahi talla nyim problem mo men bebe mo adama barolati ala baraka bak
abaraka. Second to last caller Suokono. Assalamu alaikum.
Ya walaikum salam. Allo.
Naam.
Yo alim bara bake.
Inimbara kumandir la todi mani kan kumande mi ikela mo minda e jamfala. Hold on.
La min test
Okay.
Mindi je tamala lu mindi bakono jio kono.
Aha.
Alama alu ni Cairo futalije bake.
Nini molle bije afoy radio nyi jamfandira do manding ala feedback be wararim bakele.
Yo sai ninga banyama.
Ha.
Gamna ko sidwa wo min be je kono fodin kelo. Kumada bakle almamulu jamu mu be bari ni albala male sumta banko kanja. Minu kata duma sidolo kata Tunisia o minu kata ni bala o abebe ko kilo ko non sidwe mu be. Ala se tanka bake. Man sa kuna la problem o wote e wuro Minister of Youth and Sport and Minister of Foreign Affairs. Mando ebe politicala anda kala gambe de wala akoti wolo yindi do de ka banko ka.
Tonya.
Oto ntol alfalu ngadwa la fa alina la lumo.
Baraka.
Ila kansula Karola. Kansula fenfo. Tonya lomo.
Okay.
Mumodu jonga ye yin kansulu safa lurle ka sunya. Ate fon la kunna miro la de amenka ko pour ka West Coast ma koy.
Okay.
Bari ka fango ma koy anin ka fon fankandi ana ate fon derul minbe ila kansulu je fon do ko la. Hani bibije. Alinga toja sabatindi. West Coast di wonde tati bota fanna to bisirinje wakili be nyame ye ma koy pour banko e tanya do West Coast font.
Okay.
Bari ngaje ko min trimbala be da kansul anyaton ko min kamondo ko momo jonga bira anata je finne man do ku West Coast kono ja.
Okay.
Biri kamante kunjurunte laminte sibanurunte biyamunte faratonte jamburunte ita fenne fa mon do ku je bay asisi tama puleno kono ka million dula fon kunto atike sa west coast yala ate fon toya akana katar deri mbikalo Mengbe Kering
okay
woto kansulo le fen fato ni ta be fon no to nya donne ba ko ate bobo la je dron fo nyin ko kansulo le nyobulo muta ngayan kuba makoy ala bisuna e minje west coast la na fale bije ikata momoti ibe patio patito ali ngayan kuba makoy mudu jonga attend bondije completely west coast ta nato ala baraka ba
abaraka nga tentu nga jay second to last caller banta assalamu alaikum
Waalaikum salam Mr. Fal
naam
Lami Davo jamani
Mr. Davo ni mbara
nge konto nge tentu nga fadira konto nga tentu papa fana konto bakara analyzing bidata bak
abaraka
ntela kumo de siala ba kumo fula dombe o da mala fula lafta ko jalo nyimme alon ko ay misada bo jamwa man lafta ya nyidin ka ayo lo nyaadi le yalo jalo dol bi jono woli yolle
okay
to yala nyidin ka ban ka halo nyaadi le ko to nya yankubu man na fiala yankuba na tala ka west coast bondi
okay
ani ko fulan jonkan to nyambe ala de malafa ndanga na koda na mo jo jele nan na koda la kanga sanga na mo jo jandu na mo ya fa nyame ko do min ka jo amanje adunde nte yero mo na kodo nga ki jele pour Gambia wes ko si nafa o na mo nyin ma ki je ko jonkan ye nafa o na mo nyin lafta to nya ala ka joro ke lakira bani joro malaf ya kenya lakira lafta ya jo jonkan to duniya janne lafta wol
abaraka
abaraka
nga tentu nga jay sayanga last caller ta suokono sina last caller ta banta nga sarodi last caller suokono abijel already okay matude last caller amuda jede kana landi de call sol be sharing okay assalamu alaikum
Walaikum salam senado be kondo na laj kawsu tambuje
baraka Mr.
Kawsu kanan dol be kondo na be fadera kondo na be keba sabal kondo na nala muso kanan dol be dauda
okay
aleo
naam
moro kundunya sulungola ko kole ata bak
je
yaje hadama dungo nyanta haklo dula hadama dungo hakoto bak Kama area council mbemi fola jonga e ko bududu salwati talulam
okay
sayde kana molla million kafunyo makado mo mansila yemi mira alala yemi mire fonla yemi mire wulu nyala ande kana hada madungo jameta nyawnya be jambula no boda jende me odon bida nyimba ko Mengbe Kering ba boss ba ya fola alquran ko fabi ay hadith bada ho yuminuna kata juma ala beje minni nyaata ala nen kilala kumode lafta men fola wala nyindi ko ala ko le famsu fi manaqibiha wa qulu min rizqihi wa ilayhi nushuru
okay
alfin di alida harjo bayim bar bi afdara tembe to anyanta tala alklola baake ngamira because ndolbe marli man sakunda nin bulu ni wol man kalamu dam fawol sem fan korosi o fi anfusikum afala tubsiruna binyum kulungol min be yuri kay bidaka mobuke kalangolong anum kamole dol fawol beje kadrajio kono kulo kono tendro ke jolom bakon italo ngodo banyi mantra diar ndande min pola badingo be nawo siyo madira badingo be la ko morse ni silo salon di domandin ke kolon tafula ko mokanata
okay
bawo silo be tembo min do be yalo ko ba mantra diar ba ni min boda diam ka aya fole oro alqur'ano ko alkana al bulo talia fa masibo kono nga kada ba fe nga oji be nga kasara do je 419 ka wala ke ye kulo pemben do ko en kita ye murmur ndi je ko ne ko do be kasara
okay
oro nga jibe sila nga kollo nga kudo jibe bawo ndamin dila mansa kunala ya maro ala kila ko kullukum ra'i wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyatihi aliya moyle mol mi ñaan ko ambassadeur la mi veteran siri ko fende tol bulu itol se tamalal boje do se mako min na fende bulu sa wolbe siri munela je aliu akam dal nin karo faada e ko do ditare ya kunun kense wonyama
dugara yemire banku dingol jibe yalon ko lungo bina lungo mi yawon ko ala ba fola kulli ala ba fola al yawma naktimu ala afwahihim wa takallimna aydihim wa tasadu arjuluhum bima kanu yaksibun lungo bina ala be dal lotolale ay sufol su dal lotolale sufol le be diamula andu mode kanala amala de billahi wallahi kitabu min be ala ya faylo min be je babal bu kamude si hakloto yemire ko ila banku dingol ala be nyinin kalal kullukum ra'i wa kullukum mas'ulun an ra'iyati ade bayla sudo ade bayla ni ala
abaraka nga sign last call ata program to be. Assalamu alaikum. Allo
wa alaikum salam wa alaikum ngi konto
ngejo
ntelo jawara keta.
Okay, Mr. Keta on last call to be.
Yo programme kanun teol be konto beren tubabu do fo Gambia banko ka
abaraka
ndela akumoto jam fala baga comme lata Ibrahima la kumola sembentu yala drone drame mete bo men do sainte ako nyamentu tuma sitale yo tubabu du suma kono dum fana ani samale kana nyola.
Okay.
Yo Gambia ni Senegal wol jamfata bakele mota fonola ko mol kanana bari wote fonola yo hodro isi nenno bari isa korosh.
Okay.
Weda nyi mfana isikara korosh bari ka weda korosh lo kumumeo komi jiwe tar tenkundi akolayata bakele inin kulumlu milka bona shuo kono wallahi nimbaba ne nyi mama nda wato dolu bayri Gambia hanum Gambia fa moli allo ne nimbaba ne mama nda wato dolu katala metar woro wula to kulum o be kulum murala yo ka Ibrahima kalamutan de nyenna fana bidente jangaje kibarota fo kolayata na jang kibaroto aje ye kesol bondi fure kesol dum ye nati la chojol to ko bari totela ado immigrant lem.
Okay.
Yo kulun do fana ye kulun kolon do sembi kulun kolon do je Ibrahima sikiate ba kalamal.
Okay.
O kenjo yo oleje penta yo coming odinkra lam do lafta
Mr. Keta nga tentu nga atelon on last quality B program to Ferreira ka kumandir lalten du kejay
abaraka bake bala fa warta bake bari boss bay men fo damala be je national dialogue wala nga denga kacha nga jibe mune mo way out solution on muneti nde tunula ten na funding ko de tunula katu ba kono ten na funding ko de tunula katu kenye futa kono mbeta tula bord la ka banko bula nimbe banko bula banko mina labanna wonni molle le bulu mbetula borim na mune mina kala mteng sawo ko sotla na banko kan anu niwo kabe tenten na nyim banko betula murla komal dra betula arrière komal woto al falmini alon ko wolle mu relevant authority di yela moy boss bala nyin kumolu la kabo samala ye simfalu dati se mune keno ye findi molu kan hataji kumanta min nabi nin hataji bilolo kataji bide bundo pour ko di balla mune ba kenda hataji bilota bolan nan fonnin kewla fanale se mune keno nyim kobe danno la nyaadi inin alfa lew si journalist ke balbe janne civil society be janne alfa kotono be janne menan ko experience sol sodo baake nyin ko kono berim bam jam fo banko e bantala yes ini si ye kacha banko se mune keno ngamre nin siyo keta wala ni minisa kundama mira do sodo askeno do be mira do sodo men sem bonde ni do ma sodo do be mira do sodo men sem bonde bari nyimbe damen definitely ngamira dan blanyante kelalale nu wonte mbe fokanne luwolu mbe fokanne wate banko de tenten nolo nyama alman tankala katani katatola alman tankala bonondi nambarola bari mara kano be banko kan mobe kuku kala banko kan sekato ka yade mara kana borom jazi
baraka fadera ka lamoy lalten tu kay jay anen jubir lal safer lal ala baraka kumandir lal minu dunta ala baraka minu mandu ngala ka boyndi sa woni no se mobila kolta barbitu ka duwa drum ala ma kairo jidila ndel dammalu tema ka duwatu na tamalale ala se kairo ke wato wati be ko kuto ala sa sonende na minu frambe silo kambe ala danila ase futandi kairo kono kada minu frantara se tara kairo kono im fera jang sa fale ko fo wati do ala baraka bake baraka.
Do you want to get more value for your dollars? And if the fees you pay for your transfer also matter to you?
Then ABS Money Transfer is your approved way to send money, Nduga, cash power or mobile credit to family and loved ones in the Gambia.
Sending money with APS is like sending SMS. Our service is fast, reliable, safe and convenient. We have all our services under one roof at APS. We give you competitive rate, low fee and more payout locations nationwide than competition. We provide instant cash pickup, home cash delivery, or better still, deposit money direct into your personal bank account in the Gambia and be in charge of who sees what sits in your personal bank account.
Our APS cash service provides you with great peace of mind whilst you are on holidays in the Gambia. Should you run out of cash, you can use our POS for unlimited cash withdrawal with your European bank card. Just call us on 399-5264 for this service.
Our unique and innovative Nduga service provides and delivers high-quality essential goods locally sold in the Gambia. You can buy food items such as cooking oil, rice, sugar, and other essential goods.
You can also buy building materials to build your big and magnificent houses on time with our nationwide Nduga coverage service. No more going to the market. With APS Nduga, we let you concentrate on other important tasks while we take care of your Nduga shopping.
You can send money from anywhere in the world to the Gambia with APS using your bank card, and our services are available 24/7 online. Our Senegal and other African customers can use our Worry service.
Download our APS Money app today from Google Play Store or App Store.
Call us today on our UK office number +44 121 64 33003 or on WhatsApp +44 790 402 8180 or on our Gambia office number 399 5264 or on WhatsApp on 399-5264.
Better still, visit us online at www.apsinternational.com.
APS is a service approved by you.